Chapter 1408. At the same time, Qin Feiyang also received Lu Xingqian's message. The two agreed to meet at the Black Dragon Pool. Black Dragon Pool. It has been a long time since the last time he set up a trap for Yen Wei to sneak into the state preceptor's side. The broken mountains and earth have long been covered with dense vegetation, full of vitality. Above a mountain peak, Lu Xingqian stood with his hands behind his back, facing the wind, looking down at the mountains and rivers below. His eyes were calm and no one knew what he was thinking. Mu Zhongyun stood silently behind him. When Qin Feiyang comes, I won't allow you to do anything improper. Suddenly, Lu Xingqian opened his mouth. Why? He tricked our Mu Jia so much, can't I teach him a lesson and let him taste the pain of flesh and blood? Mu Zhongyun was dissatisfied. To achieve great things, you must learn to be patient. Lu Xingqian said. Mu Zhongyun still wanted to say something. Lu Xingqian abruptly turned his head to stare at him, his eyes carrying a merciless coldness as he said, if this emperor's plan is ruined because of you, then even if you are this emperor's son, this emperor will not let you off. Zhongyun doesn't dare, Zhongyun knows his mistake. Mu Zhongyun's face changed and quickly bowed. Swish. Soon, a figure appeared in front of the two out of thin air. Who else could it be if it wasn't Qin Feiyang? Lu Xingqian smiled and said, Brother Qin, I haven't seen you for a few days, how have you been? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He originally thought that Lu Xingqian came to denounce him, but he didn't expect that he would try to get close to him. What does he mean? I already know what you did to my Mu Jia, but it doesn't matter to me. Lu Xingqian said with a smile. Really? Don't treat me like a child and fool me. Qin Feiyang looked at Lu Xingqian warily. It was impossible for anyone to remain indifferent when encountering such a situation. Not to mention Lu Xingqian. He didn't believe that this guy would be so magnanimous. Lu Xingqian said sadly, I'm disappointed by your words. We've been together for so many years. When have I ever lied to you? Then why have you come to the imperial capital this time? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Lu Xingqian said, I have something to discuss with you. What is it? Qin Feiyang frowned. He thought to himself that it was definitely not something good. Lu Xingqian smiled and asked, You definitely know about the miracle, but do you know how to enter it? What do you mean? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. 10 types of alchemy fires are needed to open the divine ruin. Similarly, these alchemy fires are also needed to enter the divine ruin. Because there is a passage inside the gate of the divine ruin. This passage is filled with something called a space-time storm. This space-time storm is extremely lethal. Even a real god of war will die on the spot if he is swept by the space-time storm. Lu Xingqian said. It's so terrifying. Qin Feiyang was shocked. Yes. However, the alchemy fires in our hands can isolate the space-time storm. But each alchemy fire can only bring 1,000 people into the divine ruin at most. Lu Xingqian said. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, You mean, the number of people entering the divine ruin is limited? Yes. 10 types of alchemy fires, 10,000 people, so only 10,000 people can enter the divine ruin at most. And there is another condition to enter the divine ruin. The minimum cultivation level to enter is a 1-star god of war. Lu Xingqian said with a smile. Pseudo-gods like you can also enter? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Yes. Gods of war and pseudo-gods can all enter. Lu Xingqian nodded. What about gods of war? Qin Feiyang asked. Gods of war can also enter, but how many gods of war are there in this world? Lu Xingqian smiled faintly. Qin Feiyang was a little uneasy. The snow python was a real god of war. If the snow python also entered the divine ruin on a whim, then even if the divine ruin was full of treasures, no one would be able to snatch them from her. Lu Xingchen said, I have no other purpose in telling you this. I just hope to cooperate with you on a deeper level. Deeper level? Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked in confusion, how so? Now, 7 of the 10 alchemy fires are in my hands, and the other 3 are in your hands. In other words, only the 2 of us can enter the divine ruin. Think about it. If only the 2 of us can enter the divine ruin, then wouldn't all the treasures in the divine ruin be ours? Lu Xingchen smiled. Qin Feiyang nodded in realization and smiled, so that's what you're thinking. You're indeed a cunning old fox, but I like it. Every man for himself, and the devil takes the hindmost. Moreover, if Great Qin and Forgotten Continent's people also enter the divine ruin, it won't be good for us either, right? Lu Xingchen laughed. That makes sense. Qin Feiyang nodded thoughtfully, then said, but after thinking about it, if only the 2 of us enter the divine ruin, I'll only be at a disadvantage. What do you mean? Lu Xingchen was stunned and said. Your Mu clan has Mu Chongyun and Mu Chongfeng, 2 peak semi-divinity realm existences, while I only have Old Man Qin by my side. Moreover, Old Man Qin is just an ordinary semi-divinity realm expert. If you turn your back on me, won't I die? Qin Feiyang joked. Lu Xingchen said, don't worry, I can guarantee that before leaving the divine ruin, I won't do anything to you. Really? Qin Feiyang asked. I, Lu Xingchen, am a man of my word. Lu Xingchen said. Okay. I agree. Qin Feiyang nodded. Brother Qin is indeed a straightforward person. 7 days later, we'll meet at the entrance of the divine ruin. Lu Xingchen was overjoyed and laughed. There are only 7 days left before the divine ruin opens. Okay. Qin Feiyang said. Then I'll take my leave. Lu Xingchen cupped his hands and smiled, then opened the portal and left with Mu Chongyun. Qin Feiyang looked at the back of the 2, and his eyes flashed slightly, then he also entered the castle. Dan Wangkai said, young master, you have to be careful, there must be a trap. I know. Lu Xingchen hasn't killed me yet, probably because he wants me to help him do something in the divine ruin. When I help him do this, I'm sure that he will immediately kill me. Qin Feiyang said with a faint smile. Dan Wangkai said in surprise, so, the deep cooperation he's talking about now is actually preparation for the future? Yes. He should be doing this to prevent Emperor Hong. After all, Emperor Hong is my great-grandfather. He's worried that when he kills me, Emperor Hong will help me out of consideration for family ties. Most importantly, he has been coveting the castle and Chang Shui for a long time and doesn't want a third person to interfere. If only I go in with him, when I die, won't Chang Shui and the castle be in his pocket? Qin Feiyang said with a smile. This is a killing trap, and you can still laugh? Dan Wangkai was speechless. So what if it's a killing trap? In this world, he's not the only one who knows how to set up a killing trap. Since he wants to plot against me, I might as well beat him at his own game. Qin Feiyang said. Dan Wangkai was slightly stunned and said, so, you've already thought of a countermeasure? I think it's not only us, but also the Lu family wants to see a place like the divine ruin. Qin Feiyang chuckled and turned to look at Lu Zheng, who was meditating with his eyes closed. Dan Wangkai also looked at Lu Zheng, with a strange color in his eyes. Lu Zheng helplessly opened his eyes, looked at Qin Feiyang, and said, I knew you wouldn't forget my Lu family. How about it? Take me to the Lu family? Qin Feiyang said with a smile. That won't do. Without second grandpa's consent, I wouldn't dare to take you there. Lu Zheng shook his head like a rattle drum. Hearing this, Dan Wangkai couldn't help but snicker. This guy didn't know that Qin Feiyang had already been to the Lu family. Second grandpa and third grandpa already knew. Qin Feiyang also smiled meaningfully, stepped forward, grabbed Lu Zheng, and descended over the black dragon pool. I said I can't go, so I can't go. Don't force me, okay? Lu Zheng looked at him angrily. I won't force you, and I don't need you to lead the way, because I know where the Lu family is. Qin Feiyang chuckled and opened a portal. You know? Are you talking in your sleep? Lu Zheng looked at him in astonishment. You'll know soon whether I'm talking in my sleep or not. Qin Feiyang grabbed Lu Zheng and rushed into the portal. Swish! The next moment, the two landed over a square. On the square, there were two statues of deities. One statue was riding a purple gold dragon, and the other was riding a flaming divine wind. From afar, they looked like two overlords of heaven and earth, exuding a king's aura that could intimidate all things. This is, Lu Zheng looked at the square and the two statues, and his expression suddenly became dull. Wasn't this the place of inheritance of the Lu family? How did Qin Feiyang know the coordinates? Third grandpa was still sitting cross-legged under the stone tablet as before. There was no aura around him, and he looked like an old grandpa next door. He looked kind and kind. Third grandpa opened his eyes when he sensed the auras of Qin Feiyang and Xiaofan. He raised his head and looked at the two of them. A smile immediately appeared on his old face. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "You are back." Yes. Lu Zheng nodded. But then, he was stunned again. Because he found that third grandpa wasn't talking to him at all. What was going on? At this moment, his mind was in a mess. Qin Feiyang looked at Lu Zheng in amusement, landed next to third grandpa, and bowed. Greetings, third grandpa. We all know what Emperor Hong did to you. You've been wronged. Third grandpa grabbed Qin Feiyang's hand and sighed. It's okay. Qin Feiyang smiled. Third grandpa sighed. You silly child, don't always be so stubborn. If you feel wronged, just say it. It's uncomfortable to keep it in your heart. I've long been used to it. There's nothing to feel uncomfortable about. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and asked with a smile, how are you and second grandpa recently? Third grandpa said, we're all the same. There's no illness or disaster, and we're carefree. I really envy you. When will I be able to live a life like yours? Qin Feiyang said with a smile, his face full of yearning. Brat, your life has just begun and you want to slack off? Third grandpa scolded with a smile. Qin Feiyang chuckled and scratched his head, looking very naive. Chapter 1409. Wait. What the hell is going on? Lu Zheng came to his senses and quickly flew down, looking at the two of them suspiciously. Qin Feiyang had never been to the Lu family before, had he? But why did he seem so familiar with third grandpa now? It didn't seem like the first time they had met. Third grandpa's face darkened and he said, you still have the nerve to ask. Isn't it all because of you? Me? Lu Zheng pointed at his nose, looking confused. Third grandpa rolled his eyes at him and looked at Qin Feiyang with a smile. Let's go to the village and have a good chat with your second grandpa. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded. Third grandpa glanced at Lu Zheng again and said angrily, what are you waiting for? Lead the way. Oh. Lu Zheng responded and turned to fly toward the village with a stomach full of doubts. Feiyang will take his leave. Qin Feiyang bowed to third grandpa and quickly caught up with Lu Zheng. Little cousin, what the hell is going on? Lu Zheng turned back and looked at him in confusion. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, actually, I've been here a long time ago. You've been here? Lu Zheng was stunned. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. When? Why don't I know? Lu Zheng frowned. One had to know. During this period, he had been following Qin Feiyang. If Qin Feiyang really came to the Lu family, it was impossible for him not to know. Qin Feiyang said, "Last time, when you came back with the 10,000 beasts portrait, I followed you here." What? Lu Zheng was stunned, and then he suddenly became angry. He grabbed Qin Feiyang's clothes and roared, "How dare you follow me?" Qin Feiyang faintly sighed and said, "I just want to know where grandfather lives." Is there a need to make it sound so unpleasant? Looking at Qin Feiyang's expression, Lu Zheng couldn't help but feel a trace of sympathy. He said, "But you still can't follow me. If second grandpa finds out about this, won't he scold me to death?" Qin Feiyang said with an embarrassed smile, "Second grandpa already knows." Bastard! When Lu Zheng heard this, he was furious again and punched Qin Feiyang in the stomach with all his might. Boom! Qin Feiyang smashed into the mountains below like a meteorite, creating a huge crater in the ground. His hair was disheveled and his face dirty, and he looked rather miserable. What happened? Third grandpa was just about to close his eyes and meditate, but when he heard the commotion, he immediately got up and took a step forward. In an instant, he landed beside Lu Zheng. When he saw Qin Feiyang lying in the crater with blood flowing out, he immediately glared at Lu Zheng and said, "What are you doing?" Lu Zheng said, "He followed me. Can't I beat him up?" Third grandpa said angrily, "He followed you to the Lu family. That's his ability. You should reflect on yourself instead of yelling here, understand?" Lu Zheng still wanted to argue. What? You're not convinced? Do you want to go to Devil's Cliff to reflect on your mistakes? Third grandpa's eyes flashed coldly. Devil's Cliff? Lu Zheng's expression changed. He quickly waved his hand and said with a flattering smile, okay. I'll reflect on myself. I'll definitely reflect on myself seriously. As long as I don't go to Devil's Cliff. That's more like it. Third grandpa glared at him, then lowered his head to look at Qin Feiyang. He was slightly stunned. Why was this kid still lying in the crater? Could it be that Lu Zheng, that little bastard, hurt him in some vital part? Thinking of this, he hurriedly flew to Qin Feiyang, squatted on the ground, and asked, "How are you?" Qin Feiyang clutched his stomach and said in pain, "My sea of qi." Not only was his face pale, but his forehead was also full of sweat. Seeing this, Lu Zheng frowned slightly and landed beside Qin Feiyang. He snorted coldly and said, "Don't pretend. I didn't use my full strength at all in that punch just now. Besides, even if I used my full strength, I couldn't have seriously injured you." In the past, Lu Zheng's cultivation was stronger than Qin Feiyang's. But now, Qin Feiyang had surpassed him. "Shut up." But before he finished speaking, third grandpa turned his head to look at Lu Zheng and shouted. Lu Zheng pursed his lips and fell silent. Third grandpa looked at Qin Feiyang again and asked, "What's wrong with your sea of qi?" Qin Feiyang said, "It's broken." Bastard! He's your cousin. How could you do that? Third grandpa was instantly enraged and shouted at Lu Zheng. Lu Zheng's expression also changed slightly. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "You're not joking with me, right? With my current cultivation, how could I break your sea of qi with one punch? My current cultivation is higher than yours, but just now, I was not prepared at all. You gave me a punch. I'm lucky that I'm still alive," Qin Feiyang said intermittently. His voice was extremely weak. "Don't talk now," third grandpa hurriedly said. Then he took out a spiritual sea pill and stuffed it into Qin Feiyang's mouth. Qin Feiyang was surprised to find that this spiritual sea pill had 6 veins. This meant that, the Lu family had an alchemist who was more powerful than Dan Wangkai. Who was this alchemist? Lu Zheng was completely dumbfounded. He looked down at his fist and muttered, "This is impossible." After giving Qin Feiyang the spirit sea pill, third grandpa suddenly stood up. He turned his head to look at Lu Zheng and said, "You disappoint me too much. Immediately go to Devil's Cliff and face the wall for 3 days. Don't." When Lu Zheng heard this, he immediately looked at third grandpa pitifully and begged, "Grandpa, I know I'm wrong, okay? I'll apologize to my cousin." "No, you must go." Third grandpa's attitude was very firm. There was no room for discussion. "I'm not going," Lu Zheng shook his head. He would rather die than submit. "You're really not going?" third grandpa asked. There was a cold light in his old eyes. "Go, go, go." Seeing this, Lu Zheng's face turned slightly pale. He quickly nodded. But before he left, he glared fiercely at Qin Feiyang, as if to say, "Bastard, just wait and see." Qin Feiyang also returned a look to Lu Zheng. "Little guy, you're still too young to fight with me." Obviously, the broken sea of energy was just an act. After Lu Zheng left, third grandpa shook his head helplessly. He stood up and smiled. "Get up, stop pretending." Qin Feiyang was stunned. He smiled and said, "You've already found out. Why don't you take a look at my cultivation? Do you think you can hide from my eyes whether or not your sea of energy is broken?" Third grandpa rolled his eyes. Qin Feiyang got up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He looked at third grandpa with an embarrassed expression. "I don't object to this at home. After all, you're still young and still have the innocence of a child. But outside, you two brothers must be united. Do you understand?" Third grandpa said. "Okay." Qin Feiyang nodded heavily. "Then go." Third grandpa smiled and waved his hand. "Okay." Qin Feiyang turned into a stream of light, rose into the air, and flew toward the village. At this moment, he was very happy. But the reason for his happiness was not because he had tricked Lu Zheng once. It was because of what third grandpa said before. Third grandpa said that it was okay to make a scene at home. This home referred to the Lu family. In other words, third grandpa did not treat him as an outsider. His sense of belonging to this place was getting stronger and stronger. Although he was born in the imperial palace, he always thought that his first home was in Iron Ox Town. And the Lu family would become his second home in the great Qin Empire. In the village. As usual, the men were farming and herding outside, and the women were doing housework at home. The children were playing everywhere, and there was constant laughter. The old people gathered together to chat, drink tea, and play chess. Although it was ordinary, it was blissful. "Second grandpa, what story are you going to tell us today?" In front of a courtyard, a group of children around 7 to 9 years old surrounded an old man in sackcloth, their faces full of anticipation. The old man in sackcloth was lying on an old-fashioned wooden armchair, looking at the group of children in front of him with a loving smile on his old face. "Today, second grandpa will tell you about a person called Qin Feiyang." "Qin Feiyang? Who is he? Is he very powerful?" the group of children asked curiously. Second grandpa smiled and said, "He's not very powerful, but on this continent, there's no one who doesn't know his name." "Second grandpa, we don't agree with what you said." "Do you know why?" the two young men said with a serious face. "Why?" Second grandpa looked at them suspiciously. "You just said that there's no one who doesn't know his name, but we don't. Doesn't this prove that you're fooling us?" the two young men said. The other children also nodded in agreement. Second grandpa was stunned. For a moment, he did not know how to answer. Whoosh! Suddenly, there was a sound of something piercing through the air. Second grandpa looked up, and his face was full of smiles. Then, he looked at the children and said with a smile, "You'll know soon, because he's here in person." In person? The group of children looked up and saw a young man in white flying toward the village like lightning. At the same time, the old people in the village, the women, and the busy men outside the village also noticed the figure. Qin Feiyang? Why is this child here? I heard that last time, he came here secretly and got the inheritance of our ancestors. He's quite capable. Are you kidding? Don't you know whose descendant he is? Whether it's the Liu family or the Qin clan, our genes are not bad, not to mention that he's the product of our two families. The people started to talk. Everyone's face was full of the most sincere smiles. Whoosh! After a few breaths, Qin Feiyang flew into the sky above the village. Looking at the simple and sincere smiles of everyone, his sense of belonging to this place went further. This was the life he wanted. How comfortable and happy it would be for a family to live together without any worries and worries. His face was also full of an innocent smile. Whoosh! He landed in the village. The people in the village came from all directions. Second grandpa also got up and walked slowly toward Qin Feiyang with a group of children. "Feiyang, you're here. How have you been these years? But then again, the last time we saw you was many years ago." "Yes, yes, yes. I still remember that you had just learned to walk at that time. You came back with your mother, wearing open-crotch pants all day long, running around and causing chaos in the village." Chapter 14:10. Really? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He really didn't remember these things. These are all things that happened when you were young. You definitely don't remember. But it doesn't matter. You just need to go home. Everyone here is your family. Although we haven't helped you much over the years, we've always been worried about you and your mother. People said. Qin Feiyang glanced at the strange faces in front of him. Although they were strangers, the kinship that blood was thicker than water could not be erased. His heart couldn't help but tremble. His eyes couldn't help but moisten. Because in this world, there was a group of lovely people who missed him and missed him. Greetings, grandpas, grandmas, uncles, aunts. At the same time, I also greet you on behalf of my mother. Qin Feiyang knelt on the ground and bowed. Good, good, good. Son, get up, get up. From now on, this is your home. You can come back whenever you want. We don't treat you as an outsider. Don't treat us as outsiders, either. Several old people nodded with relief and stepped forward to help Qin Feiyang up. Their old eyes were also filled with tears. Especially when they thought of Qin Feiyang's experience over the years, they couldn't help but feel sad. No. You will always be Feiyang's family. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Some women and old people looked at Qin Feiyang silently. At this moment, they were all smiling and crying. Mom, why are you crying? A 5-year-old child looked at his mother in confusion. Mom is not crying. She is happy. The child's mother replied. At this time, the crowd gradually dispersed. Second grandpa walked over step by step and stopped in front of Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang looked at second grandpa. Second grandpa also looked at Qin Feiyang. None of them spoke. At this moment, the village was particularly quiet. After an unknown amount of time, Qin Feiyang strode forward and walked in front of second grandpa. He knelt on the ground and said, "This unfilial grandson, Qin Feiyang, pays respect to second grandpa." Unfilial, second grandpa muttered to himself. His old face was gradually filled with guilt. He reached out to help Qin Feiyang up. Child, how can you say that about yourself? For the sake of your mother, you even disregarded your own life. Who in this world is more filial than you? It's second grandpa. I should apologize to you. Second Grandpa sighed, his face full of self-blame. No, no, no. You didn't let me down, nor did anyone in the Lu family. The one who let me down was the Emperor, the Hong Emperor, and those so-called family members of mine in the imperial palace. Qin Feiyang said. Everyone was silent. It could be seen that Qin Feiyang's resentment toward the people of the imperial palace was extraordinarily deep. Child, since you're here, you don't have to think so much anymore. Yeah. In our place, let alone killing, we don't even have to scheme against each other. You can take this opportunity to relax. The old men laughed. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded. All right, everyone go and get ready. Feiyang, this child, has finally come back. We have to celebrate. All right. The crowd quickly dispersed. The women of each family were busy. Seeing this scene, Qin Feiyang's heart was especially warm. He smiled and said, "It's good to have a family." When Second Grandpa heard this, he blamed himself even more. He also regretted it. Why did he have to worry so much and not bring Qin Feiyang to the Lu family earlier? She had let him suffer so much outside alone. Qin Feiyang laughed and said, "Second Grandpa, take me around." All right. Second Grandpa nodded. Our village only has a total of 1,000 families. Including the elderly and children, there are more than 5,000 people. However, don't underestimate everyone. Because among these 5,000 people, half of them have the cultivation of the War Emperor, there are more than 1,000 9-star War Emperor. Moreover, the fierce beasts within a radius of 10,000 miles of the village are all raised by our Lu family. There are at least 8,000 9-star Emperor beasts, if not 10,000. As for 1-star to 8-star Emperor beasts, there are too many to count, Second Grandpa introduced with a smile as he brought Qin Feiyang around the village. What? Qin Feiyang was stunned. More than 1,000 9-star War Emperors were already very shocking. There were actually so many 9-star Emperor beasts? There were at least 8,000 if not 10,000. Oh my God! What kind of concept was this? One had to know that there were only 80 or 99-star Emperor beasts in the ancient pagoda. At first, there were more than 100 of them. However, many of them died when they fought with the descendants of the imperial preceptor in the Sea of Reincarnation. As for the 9-star War Emperors, there were only 18 of them, Wang Yangfeng. Although they had all stepped into the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm, compared to the Lu family, they were not worth mentioning. Qin Feiyang asked, "How many people are at the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm?" "It seems to be 200 or 300. The elders who spoke to you just now are all at the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm," Second Grandpa said with a smile. Qin Feiyang was secretly speechless. No wonder he could not sense any aura from those elders earlier. The people of the Lu family do not really care about cultivation. As long as we can live together, see each other every day, and be happy. Second Grandpa said. When can my mother and I be like you? Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed softly. Second Grandpa stopped and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. He said with a smile, "Don't be too stubborn. Let nature take its course. Your obsession now is too deep. I'm afraid it will hinder you from becoming a god in the future." "How can I become a god?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Let go of everything and return to your original intention and heart. This is the profound meaning of becoming a god. Actually, it's not difficult, but it's not easy either. It all depends on one's state of mind. With your talent, you will step into the peak of the 9-star War Emperor realm sooner or later. Let go of your obsession. This is what you should do now," Second Grandpa said. "Let go of my obsession," Qin Feiyang murmured and shook his head. He said, "My obsession is deeply rooted. How can I let it go just like that? Moreover, it was because of my obsession that I gave birth to the inner demons. Second Grandpa sighed softly and said, the appearance of the inner demons has already sealed your fate. What fate? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. You can't become a god. Because the inner demons are the source of all obsessions. As long as the inner demons exist, so will the obsessions. Unless you can kill the inner demons. Second Grandpa said. Kill the inner demons. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. In the inner world, the inner demons heard Second Grandpa's words. Their bodies could not help but tremble violently. They said, Deity, we have fought side by side for so many years. You can't be so heartless. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. He secretly comforted them. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, you will always exist. Hearing this, the inner demons breathed a sigh of relief. Qin Feiyang asked, Second Grandpa, is there any other way to become a god other than cutting off one's obsession? No. Second Grandpa shook his head. If you have to cut off your obsession to become a god, then why can ambitious people like the state preceptor and Mu Changfeng also become gods? Qin Feiyang frowned. Becoming a god doesn't mean that you have to be pure of heart and few desires. For example, this old man. Don't think that this old man is carefree now. In fact, this old man also has obsessions and desires. However, when comprehending the profound meaning of becoming a god, we must first let go of these things. This is a very difficult process. Some people may not be able to do it in their entire lives. Second Grandpa said. So that's how it is. Qin Feiyang nodded in understanding. This old man doesn't want to say anything about you, and I'm not qualified to say anything. However, this old man heard from Lu Zheng about your relationship with the inner demons. If you want to become a god, you have to make a choice. Second Grandpa said solemnly. A choice. Qin Feiyang looked up at the sky and said, I won't let go of my obsession, and I won't cut off the inner demons. However, I won't give up on becoming a god either. At this moment, his eyes looked extremely deep, as if they could pierce through time and space and peer into the high and mighty sky. If you don't get rid of the inner demons, how can you become a god? Second Grandpa frowned. There will always be a way. If there really isn't, then I will open up a cultivation path that belongs to me. Qin Feiyang clenched his hands, and a dazzling light burst out of his eyes. Open up a cultivation path that belongs to me. Second Grandpa's body and mind trembled. How much confidence and courage did he have to say something like that? He looked at Qin Feiyang at this moment. He felt that the thin figure seemed to be quietly giving birth to a supreme domineering aura. Can you really do it? Second Grandpa murmured in his heart. He calmed down and said with a smile, opening up a cultivation path that belongs to you is countless times more difficult than comprehending the profound meaning of becoming a god. Since ancient times, no one has ever done it. However, this old man is looking forward to it. Qin Feiyang smiled and didn't continue the topic. The group of children had been following Qin Feiyang and Second Grandpa. They looked at Qin Feiyang with curiosity in their big eyes. Qin Feiyang looked at them. Although these children were young, according to his observation, each of them had extraordinary talent. If nothing unexpected happened, they would be the future heavenly talents of the great Qin Empire. A snot-nosed child ran to Second Grandpa and asked, Second Grandpa, is he the Qin Feiyang you wanted to tell us about just now? Yes. Second Grandpa nodded. The snot-nosed child glanced at Qin Feiyang and said, he doesn't look that big of a deal. Yes. I thought he was someone great. Turns out he's not that great. The other children also nodded. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He was actually being looked down upon by a group of children? Are you not convinced? If you have the ability, you can compete with Big Brother Lu Zheng. I feel that you're far inferior to big brother Lu Zheng. The snot-nosed child clamored. Qin Feiyang also became playful. He said jokingly, "Little brat, your big brother Lu Zheng is now facing the wall at Devil's Cliff to reflect on his mistakes." What? Devil's Cliff? The children's expressions changed when they heard the words Devil's Cliff. The snot-nosed child asked suspiciously, "Did Big Brother Zheng do something wrong? Why is he facing the wall at Devil's Cliff?" "He didn't do anything wrong. I used a little trick to make him face the wall at Devil's Cliff. Now tell me, between your big brother Lu Zheng and me, who is more powerful?" Chapter 14:11. It can't be. Are you that capable? The snot-nosed kid was stunned. "If you don't believe me, you can go to the Devil Cliff and take a look," Qin Feiyang said, but he was a little puzzled. What was so scary about the Devil Cliff? Not only Lu Zheng, but even these little kids were afraid. No, no. The snot-nosed kid shook his head and said, "If you have the ability, you can go and fight with Brother Jin. I guarantee that you won't be able to take one move from him." Brother Jin? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Who was this? You don't even know who Brother Jin is? You're really ignorant. Let me tell you, Brother Jin stepped into the Battle Monarch realm at the age of 10 and the Battle Emperor realm at the age of 50. Second Grandpa and the others all said that Brother Jin is a genius that only appears once in 100,000 years. He's more powerful than anyone in the world. The snot-nosed kid first looked down on Qin Feiyang, then raised his little head and said proudly. He stepped into the Battle Emperor realm at the age of 50. Qin Feiyang was shocked. He turned to look at Second Grandpa with a questioning gaze. Don't listen to these little kids. It's not that exaggerated. However, one thing is true. Jin Er's talent is indeed better than Zheng Er's. Second Grandpa smiled. Then who is he? Qin Feiyang asked. After being together for so long, he naturally knew how talented Lu Zheng was. It was no exaggeration to say that Lu Zheng's talent could be ranked in the top 10 in the entire Great Qin Empire. However, he didn't expect that there was someone in the Lu family who was more talented than Lu Zheng. How could he not be surprised? Second Grandpa smiled and said, "He's your eldest cousin, Lu Jiajin. He's also Lu Zheng's elder brother." Qin Feiyang nodded and said with a smile, "I'm really looking forward to meeting him." Second Grandpa said, "Jin is in seclusion to break through to the semi-divinity realm. However, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future." What? Qin Feiyang turned pale with fright. He originally thought that his eldest cousin was just in seclusion to cultivate normally. He didn't expect that he was actually trying to break through to the semi-divinity realm. This was too terrifying. There's another interesting thing. Second Grandpa said again. Interesting? Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked suspiciously, "What interesting thing?" He and Zhuge Mingyang were born in the same year, the same month, and the same day. They were even born at the same time. Second Grandpa said with a smile. No way. Qin Feiyang was stunned. How could there be such a coincidence? Absolutely. Second Grandpa said. Then this cousin of mine is really not simple. Qin Feiyang murmured. The two of them were born on the same day and at the same time. But now, his cousin was already pushing for a breakthrough to the semi-divinity realm. However, Zhuge Mingyang's current cultivation was even lower than his. The gap between them was too big. However, the Lu family had all kinds of potential pills recipes. As the prodigy of the Lu family, Lu Jiajin must have unlocked the door of potential just like Lu Zheng. His cultivation speed was naturally not something that Zhuge Mingyang could compare with. In terms of talent and potential, the two of them should be on par. Although your cousin's talent is extraordinary, he has been very low-key since he was a child. And like you, he is a cultivation maniac. So all these years, no one knows his name. Even the state preceptor and your father know that there is such a person in the Lu family, but they don't know his talent and cultivation. Second grandpa said with a smile. Qin Feiyang's face darkened and said, "Don't mention him in front of me." Of course, he was referring to the emperor. Second grandpa also realized that he had said something wrong and a trace of apology appeared on his face. Qin Feiyang asked, "Where is my cousin in seclusion now?" Second grandpa said, "In the forbidden area of the back mountain. I know what you want to do. But don't disturb him now." Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and couldn't help but feel disappointed. Hearing about him was not as good as meeting him in person. Frankly speaking, he really wanted to see just how monstrous this cousin of his was. Swish. But at this moment, a white figure appeared out of nowhere in the sky above the village. It was a young man, about 185 meters tall, with a handsome face and a tall figure. His snow-white clothes were spotless. His long black hair was casually draped behind his back, fluttering in the wind. There was no aura around him at all, as if he was one with the void. Even his arrival was not noticed by anyone in the village. It's Brother Jean. Brother Jean is back. The first to notice the young man in white were a few teenagers. They looked at the young man in white and exclaimed in surprise. Second grandpa was stunned and looked up. Qin Feiyang's eyes also trembled slightly, and he immediately looked up at the young man in white. Is he my cousin? Although this young man in white had no aura at all, he gave him a great sense of danger. Jean, why are you back? Second grandpa looked at the young man in white suspiciously. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something and asked in surprise, "Have you made a breakthrough?" The young man in white looked at second grandpa with a face full of respect. But he didn't answer second grandpa. Instead, he turned his eyes and fell on Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang didn't evade at all. The two pairs of eyes collided in the void. All of a sudden, Lu Jiajin raised his arm and hooked his finger at Qin Feiyang. The meaning was self-evident. He was provoking Qin Feiyang. Jean, don't mess around. Second grandpa frowned and said. Swish. But before his voice died away, Qin Feiyang jumped and directly landed in the void opposite Lu Jiajin. Come on, everyone. There's a good show to watch. Brother Jean, come on. Beat him down. The snotty kid immediately shouted excitedly. The other children also looked excited. It's Jean, Why is he back? When everyone heard the snotty kid's voice, they looked up at Lu Jiajin with eyes full of suspicion. Suddenly, an old man's face changed and said in shock, Are they going to fight? Jean, your cousin just came back. You can't bully him. Yes. Your cousin is only a 4-star combat emperor. How can he be your opponent? Don't mess around. Come down quickly. The group of old men immediately tried to persuade them. But whether it was Lu Jiajin or Qin Feiyang, they turned a deaf ear to them. They only had eyes for each other. Boom! A gust of emperor aura suddenly rushed out from Lu Jiajin's body. But this emperor aura wasn't strong. It was only at the level of a 4-star combat emperor. And the cultivation level he revealed was only that of a 4-star combat emperor. 4-star combat emperor? Qin Feiyang was stunned. However, when he saw Lu Jiajin's expression, Qin Feiyang immediately understood. Lu Jiajin deliberately suppressed his cultivation level to the same level as him. In other words, Lu Jiajin wanted to have a fair fight with him. Let me see if you are as strong as the rumors say. Lu Jiajin finally spoke. His voice had a unique magnetism. It was very pleasant to hear. But Qin Feiyang couldn't hear any emotions from it. He felt that this person was like an emotionless robot. As you wish. Qin Feiyang's lips curled up. The aura of a 4-star combat emperor suddenly erupted. Swish. Following closely. The two of them didn't say anything else. With surging emperor aura, they charged toward each other. Second Grandpa, what should we do? A group of old men flew to Second Grandpa's side and asked anxiously. Second Grandpa looked at the two of them in the sky and shook his head with a smile. Jin is just testing Feiyang's strength. Feiyang also wants to spar with Jin Let them be. Boom. In the sky. Qin Feiyang and Lu Jiajin's first confrontation finally erupted. Neither of them retreated. They raised their fists and punched at each other. The moment the two fists collided, an apocalyptic shockwave spread out in all directions with the two of them as the center. Second Grandpa waved his hand. The false god force appeared and spread out in all directions. In just a moment, a giant barrier appeared and enveloped the entire village. The shockwave surged like a tide and hit the barrier. However, it didn't cause any waves and instantly dissipated. Jin, you have to know your limits. Don't hurt Feiyang. Some of the old men looked at Lu Jiajin and warned him loudly. Qin Feiyang's life was already bumpy. They didn't want Qin Feiyang to be hurt here. Boom. The two of them were in a stalemate in the sky. Around them, the wind howled. Terrifying power poured out from their fists and roared in all directions. The void above the village gradually distorted. The two of them stared at each other. Their cold eyes flashed with monstrous battle intent. Puff. 10 breaths later. Qin Feiyang spat out a mouthful of blood. He lost his balance and kept retreating. How could this be? My body has been tempered by divine blood, but I feel powerless in front of him. Qin Feiyang's face was calm, but there was a storm in his heart. At the same time, Lu Jiajin also retreated a few steps, but there wasn't even a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He was still as cold as before. I told you, he's definitely no match for Big Brother Jin. The snotty kid's little face was full of pride. He shouted, Big Brother Jin, beat him up and let him know how powerful we are. You little bastard, do you want to be beaten up? An old man's face darkened. He grabbed the snotty kid's ankle and hung him upside down in the void. He then slapped his little butt. Ouch, the snotty kid immediately wailed in pain. Boom. High in the sky. Qin Feiyang glanced at the snotty kid and looked up at Lu Jiajin opposite him. His eyes were full of battle intent. He took a step in the void and stabilized his body. Then, without saying a word, he raised his fist and punched. Stop. But at this time, Lu Jiajin stretched out his hand. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and stopped in the void, looking at him suspiciously. Lu Jiajin looked at Qin Feiyang, and a friendly smile suddenly appeared on his cold face. He said, Little cousin, our fight ends here. What? Qin Feiyang was dumbfounded. He was just in the mood, but the other side stopped. The collision just now is enough to prove that your ability is indeed worthy of your reputation. Lu Jiajin said with a smile. There was a touch of appreciation in his eyes. Wait. It's just a collision. How can you judge my ability? Besides, I'm just in the mood, but you stopped. Aren't you deliberately making me feel uncomfortable? Qin Feiyang was dissatisfied. It was like standing in front of a beautiful woman who had already taken off her clothes and was ready to fight, but then told you that her period had come. Huh, Lu Jiajin laughed loudly. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Right now, the gap between the two of us is too big. I am unable to go all out. In the future, when you step into the false god realm, let's have a good fight. As for how I judge your ability, speaking of this. Chapter 14:12. Divine Might. Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. Second Grandpa and the others below were stunned at first, but then they all looked like they were wild with joy. Although I suppressed my cultivation, as you can see, I have stepped into the semi-divinity realm. You should also know that after stepping into the semi-divinity realm, my body will undergo a qualitative change. Although we only met once, you were able to hold on for so long without suffering any serious injuries. This is enough to show that you are indeed very powerful. Lu Jiajin looked at Qin Feiyang and smiled. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but smile bitterly when he heard this. Breaking through to the semi-divinity realm meant that Lu Jiajin had shed his mortal body and become a semi-divinity body. Although his current physical body was very strong, compared to a semi-divinity body, there was still a long way to go. After all, a semi-divinity body was considered half a divine body. No wonder he felt a sense of powerlessness when he clashed with Lu Jiajin. Huff. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and said, "Thank you for showing mercy, big cousin. You don't have to be humble. Although I suppressed my cultivation, I didn't show mercy. I have high hopes for you. I also believe that it won't be long before you can catch up with me." Lu Jiajin smiled. "I will work hard." Qin Feiyang nodded. Lu Jiajin smiled and looked down at Second Grandpa. "Second Grandpa, I still have to stabilize my cultivation, so I will take my leave first. This is the first time you two have met. Don't you want to have a good chat with Feiyang? Moreover, you have successfully stepped into the semi-divinity realm, which is a great thing for the Lu family. We should celebrate." Second Grandpa said. "There will be plenty of time in the future." Lu Jiajin faintly smiled and nodded to Qin Feiyang. Then, he turned around and left, leaving everyone with a faintly discernible back. Lu Jiajin, big cousin, Qin Feiyang looked at the back and muttered to himself. To be able to step into the semi-divinity realm at such a young age, he was truly a monstrous genius. If Zhuge Mingyang knew that the person who was born in the same year, month, and day as him had already stepped into the false divinity realm and stood above the billions of living beings, how would he feel? Time flew by. In the evening, the entire Lu family was enveloped in a festive atmosphere. Firstly, it was because Qin Feiyang had returned. The second reason was because Lu Jiajin had suddenly become a pseudo-divinity. Even Second Grandpa could not help but drink a few more cups. Qin Feiyang really liked this feeling. He was surrounded by his family, and all he heard were concerned voices. There was no fighting or scheming, and everyone was happy and harmonious. That night, he also drank a lot. Midnight. The moon in the sky was very round and the moonlight was hazy. Most of the villagers had already fallen asleep. In a courtyard, Qin Feiyang was sitting at a stone table with Second Grandpa. They were drinking tea and chatting. Second Grandpa smiled and said, "Feiyang, this time you came back, there must be something else, right?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Tell me." Second Grandpa said. Qin Feiyang immediately told Second Grandpa about the 10 types of pill fire and Lu Xingqian's scheme in detail. After listening, Second Grandpa lowered his head and fell into deep thought. Qin Feiyang did not say anything to disturb him. After a long time, Second Grandpa's eyes flashed. He looked up at Qin Feiyang and said, "You killed Ren Duxing and severely damaged the Mu family of the Forgotten Continent. Even so, Lu Xingqian still did not do anything to you. It can be seen that he has a big plan." Qin Feiyang nodded. Second Grandpa was silent for a moment. He sighed and said, "I know what you mean. You want to beat him at his own game and kill Lu Xingqian to get rid of this disaster. But Feiyang, I can only apologize to you." "Why?" The last time I came, although I was accepting the inheritance, I know what happened at that time. I remember that in addition to you and third grandpa, there were 10 false gods at that time. With such a powerful lineup, I really don't understand. What are you still afraid of? Qin Feiyang said. Some things are far more complicated than you think. Although I don't know the background of the Mu family, I'm sure it's not that simple. Second grandpa said. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, you mean that in addition to Mu Changyun and Mu Changfeng, the Mu family is hiding other false gods? That's inevitable. After all, even my Lu family has so many false gods, let alone the ambitious Mu family. However, the Mu family is not the reason why I'm afraid. Second grandpa said with a trace of bitterness. Then what is the reason? Qin Feiyang asked. I can't tell you now. I can only tell you this. Although I also want to enter the miracle site, I can't go. Not only can I not go, but your third grandpa and the 10 false gods that you know can't go either. To be exact, the false gods of our Lu family can't leave the great Qin Empire. Second grandpa sighed, his old face full of disappointment. Why is that? Qin Feiyang looked at second grandpa in confusion. This answer was completely out of his expectations. You will understand in the future. However, although we can't go, your cousin can. Because now, except for our own people, no one knows that he has broken through to the false god realm. I believe that with your cousin's strength and wisdom, he will definitely be able to help you in the miracle site. Second grandpa said with a smile. As you wish. Qin Feiyang sighed and did not force him to answer. Second grandpa looked at Qin Feiyang deeply and said with a smile, it's already very late, go and rest. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and then walked to the wooden building. But suddenly, he stopped and turned to look at second grandpa and asked, what about my grandfather? Why didn't he come to see me when I came back this time? Second grandpa's hands, which were hidden in his sleeves, suddenly clenched. There was a hint of murderous intent in the depths of his eyes. But Qin Feiyang did not notice any of this. Because second grandpa hid it very well. However, seeing that second grandpa did not speak for a long time, Qin Feiyang gradually felt uneasy and asked, did something happen to grandpa? No. Your grandfather is so powerful. How could something happen to him? Second grandpa hurriedly said. Qin Feiyang said, then why don't you tell me where he is now? Your grandfather is in seclusion. Even I can't see him, let alone you. But don't worry, when he comes out, he will definitely see you immediately. Second grandpa said with a smile. I hope so. Qin Feiyang sighed. With a heart full of disappointment, he turned and entered the wooden building. His thin back seemed particularly disappointed. Big brother, tell me, how should I tell Feiyang about this? If Feiyang knows the truth, I think he will definitely go crazy. I really don't know what to do, can you give me a hint? Second grandpa sat alone in the night. After watching Qin Feiyang enter the wooden building, he looked at the night sky and muttered to himself. His expression was full of helplessness. That night, it was destined to be a sleepless night. Qin Feiyang lay on the bed, wanting to take the opportunity to have a good sleep. But no matter what he did, he could not fall asleep. Therefore, before dawn, he got up and walked aimlessly in the village. Everything in the village was no different from an ordinary village. If someone who did not know came here, they would definitely think that this was a village where ordinary people lived. There was simplicity in the tranquility. After walking around the village alone, Qin Feiyang stood at the entrance of the village. He did not know where to go next. His heart was very confused. He glanced at the mountain range outside the village. Finally, he stepped forward and walked into the depths of the mountain range step by step. Along the way, he encountered many fierce beasts. There were strong and weak ones. But these fierce beasts were very docile, just watching him from afar. Gradually, the horizon was white. The sun rose from the horizon. The fierce beasts in the mountain range gradually began to become active. But when they saw Qin Feiyang, they silently retreated to the side. These fierce beasts were all raised by the Lu family. Although they had never seen Qin Feiyang before, when Qin Feiyang first entered the Lu family, second grandpa had already told them. In the future, no matter who saw Qin Feiyang, they could not hurt him. Half an hour passed. Qin Feiyang crossed a jungle and a vast plain came into sight. The plain covered an area of over 100 miles. There was not a single tree, not even a single blade of grass. However, there were medicinal herbs of various colors that were overflowing with vitality. So many medicinal herbs. Qin Feiyang stood on the edge of the jungle and glanced at the medicinal herbs on the plain. His eyes were full of surprise. There were too many. Densely packed, like a young girl swaying in the wind, gushing with dazzling light. The rich medicinal fragrance enveloped the entire plain. Wait. With so many medicinal herbs together, it obviously did not grow naturally. It should be the Lu family's medicinal field. I don't know if this medicinal field can be compared with the Mu family's medicinal field. Qin Feiyang muttered to himself as he strode into the medicinal field. Along the way, he basically recognized all the medicinal herbs. However, he found that many of the medicinal herbs were more than 10,000 years old. The deeper he went, the more precious the medicinal herbs he saw. Finally, he also found white jade fruit, purple spirit flower, and other extremely rare medicinal herbs. In the past 10,000 years, the Lu family's heritage should not be underestimated. Qin Feiyang murmured. Suddenly, he noticed that there was a faint black spot in the distance ahead. With suspicion, he walked quickly towards the black spot. Gradually, he saw the so-called black spot clearly. It turned out to be a small wooden building. It was very old and very simple, with only 2 floors in total. On the balcony on the second floor of the small wooden building, Qin Feiyang saw an old man. The old man had reached the age of 70, his body was stooped, his beard and hair were white. He sat cross-legged on the balcony, his eyes slightly closed, wearing a very old linen clothes, but it was very clean. His old face, with a bit of kindness. The old man also gave Qin Feiyang a very strong sense of intimacy. Qin Feiyang looked at the old man, step by step walked to the front of the small wooden building and stood under the balcony. The sense of intimacy deep in his heart became stronger and stronger. However, the old man did not seem to notice the arrival of Qin Feiyang and still closed his eyes. Chapter 14:13. His voice was very soft, but as long as one was not deaf, one could hear it. And the old man in front of him gave Qin Feiyang a sense of familiarity that his second and third grandfathers could not compare with. Therefore, he guessed that this old man was most likely his grandfather, who had never shown himself. But the old man still did not open his eyes. What's going on? Qin Feiyang was suspicious and said again unwillingly, Grandpa, I really miss you. Can you open your eyes and look at me? Another long time passed. Just as Qin Feiyang was about to rush to the balcony, the old man's eyelids moved and he finally opened his eyes slowly. It was a pair of cloudy eyes, but one could clearly see that there was a strong sense of loss in them. The old man just looked at Qin Feiyang without saying a word. Qin Feiyang urged, Answer me, are you my grandfather or not? Alas! The old man sighed and shook his head. I'm not your grandfather. You're not. Qin Feiyang's body stiffened and said, Since you're not my grandfather, why do you give me such a strong sense of familiarity? Maybe it's because of this. The old man reached out and grabbed a crutch from the ground in front of him. The crutch was red all over, as if it was cast from magma, with a lifelike fire phoenix attached to it. Qin Feiyang looked at the crutch. The old man said, "This crutch was made by your grandfather himself. Can I go up and have a look?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Yes." The old man nodded. Qin Feiyang jumped up, landed on the balcony, and took the crutch from the old man. The moment the crutch was in his hand, Qin Feiyang suddenly felt a stronger sense of familiarity than before. "It's really from this crutch," Qin Feiyang murmured. "Back then, when your grandfather was refining this walking stick, he added his own divine blood into it. That's why it feels so familiar to you." The old man explained. "I see." Qin Feiyang mumbled. He looked down at the old man and asked, "Then why is Grandpa's walking stick in your hands?" "I'm keeping it for him," the old man said. "Then who are you?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The old man said, "I'm your grandfather's younger brother, ranked 4th. You can call me 4th Grandpa." "4th Grandpa?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. In the past, he had thought that his grandfather only had one younger brother, who was his second grandpa. However, in the land of inheritance, his third grandpa had suddenly appeared. And now, 4th Grandpa had popped out of nowhere? How many brothers did Grandpa have? Would another 5th Grandpa pop up in the future? As if seeing Qin Feiyang's doubts, the old man said in a hoarse voice, "We only have 4 brothers." "Oh." Qin Feiyang nodded. He looked down at the crutch and suddenly asked, "Where is Grandpa now?" "Seclusion." 4th Grandpa replied without hesitation. "Seclusion," Qin Feiyang murmured. Last night, he heard from his second grandpa that Grandpa was in seclusion. He didn't believe it, so when he saw 4th Grandpa, he suddenly asked. Because when a person was faced with a sudden question, they would instinctively answer truthfully. In other words, he was trying to get information from 4th Grandpa. Hearing 4th Grandpa's straightforward answer, he didn't have any doubts anymore. Qin Feiyang reached out and stroked the walking stick. He asked, "4th Grandpa, can you give this walking stick to me?" "No." 4th Grandpa shook his head. He was very straightforward again. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly. He held the walking stick with both hands and handed it to 4th Grandpa. 4th Grandpa reached out and grabbed the walking stick. He looked up at Qin Feiyang and sighed. "We can understand your feelings, but some things can't be forced." "I understand." Qin Feiyang nodded. "It's good that you understand," 4th Grandpa said lightly. Then he asked, "When I saw you enter the herbal field just now, you looked very confused. Were you thinking about something?" Compared with 2nd Grandpa and 3rd Grandpa, 4th Grandpa's character was a little cold. "You knew I entered the herbal field?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. "Of course. As long as someone enters the herbal field, I can sense it immediately," 4th Grandpa said. "Then why did you pretend you didn't see it just now?" Qin Feiyang was quite unhappy, but he didn't dare to say it out loud. He nodded and said, "I was thinking about something. This time I came to the Liu family, I thought I could find the answer in my heart, and I also thought I could see Grandpa. But in the end, I didn't get anything. This makes me very confused. There are a lot of helpless things in this world. Why do you have to be so persistent? Follow your own heart. Do what you should do. Thinking about something you can't figure out will only add to your troubles," 4th Grandpa said. "Add to your troubles, follow your own heart," Qin Feiyang murmured. Suddenly, he came to his senses. He bowed and said, "Thank you for your advice, 4th Grandpa. Go. Your life has just begun. The road ahead is very long. Do whatever you want to do. Don't leave yourself any regrets," 4th Grandpa said with a smile. This was the first time he smiled since he met Qin Feiyang. "Yes. Qin Feiyang replied with a bow. Then he turned into a stream of light and flew toward the village. What a smart boy. If second brother hadn't sent me a message in advance last night and told me clearly, I might have spilled the beans when he suddenly asked me such a question. Looking at Qin Feiyang's back, fourth grandpa shook his head and murmured. Then he closed his eyes again and entered the state of meditation. When Qin Feiyang returned to the village, the sun had risen high in the sky. Most of the villagers had also gotten up. The old people gathered in twos and threes to exercise. The children also faced the morning sun and breathed in the vitality. Smoke rose in spirals over the entire village, presenting a peaceful scene. Feiyang, good morning. Where did you come from? Didn't you sleep last night? When he passed by the village entrance, several burly men who went out to do farm work greeted Qin Feiyang with a smile. They were very friendly. Yes, I slept. But I woke up early in the morning. Seeing that no one was up, I went to the nearby mountains for a walk. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. It seems that you haven't gotten used to our life here. Let me tell you, in our place, whether adults or children, basically sleep and rest every night. Yes, what is the purpose of living in this world? Isn't it to enjoy life? Why do you have to suffer for the pursuit of cultivation? You've just arrived. You certainly can't understand. After waiting for a long time, you'll gradually get used to it. Alright, let's not talk about it. We're going to work. There's still a large wheat field to weed. Let's drink together tonight. The burly men sighed and smiled at Qin Feiyang. Then, they carried their hoes and walked towards the wheat field in the distance. Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with envy as he looked at Uzizi and the others. Although they were burly men, their cultivation wasn't weak. 2 of them were 8-star combat emperors and 4 were 7-star combat emperors. In the outside world, such a cultivation level was enough to dominate a region. But these people lived the lives of ordinary people. Every day, they ate, slept, and did farm work. They even enjoyed it. Frankly speaking, even Qin Feiyang felt inferior to such an indifferent state of mind. Shaking his head, Qin Feiyang turned around and entered the village. When a woman saw Qin Feiyang, she waved her hand from afar and said, Feiyang, I just made breakfast. Come and have some. Thank you, Auntie. Second grandpa is still waiting for me at home. I'll visit your house when I'm free. Qin Feiyang smiled. Okay, come over anytime. The woman nodded. Feiyang, come. These are freshly steamed meat buns. Take a few and try them. There's also soy milk. I made it myself. I also have freshly baked old mantou. Take a few and try them too. The villagers were too enthusiastic. Qin Feiyang almost couldn't handle it. However, looking at the smiling faces full of care, his heart felt very warm. This was what family was. Those hypocritical people in the imperial palace, compared to the people here, were simply not worth shit. Soon, he returned to the courtyard. Second grandpa had already woken up and personally prepared breakfast for Qin Feiyang. 2 bowls of millet porridge, 2 portions of stir-fried vegetables, and a plate of kimchi. It was very simple. But it was very warm. The taste was also ordinary, but Qin Feiyang ate it. It was very delicious. Seeing Qin Feiyang eating with relish, second grandpa was also full of smiles and asked, Feiyang, how long are you going to stay this time? Qin Feiyang's arm slightly paused and said, I'll leave tomorrow. So soon? Isn't there still 5 or 6 days before the miracle opens? Second grandpa asked. Qin Feiyang finished the millet porridge in the bowl in one breath, put down the bowl and chopsticks, wiped his mouth, and then looked up at the village and the villagers with a trace of reluctance in his eyes. After a while, Qin Feiyang withdrew his gaze and sighed. I also want to stay here, but there are some things that I have to do. Second grandpa fell silent. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, but when I have time in the future, I will come back. At that time, don't think I'm annoying. What are you talking about? I can't wait to like it. Second grandpa glared at him. Qin Feiyang grinned, held the empty bowl, and said, is there any more millet porridge? I want to eat more. Yes. I specially prepared a big pot for you. Go and get it yourself. Second grandpa smiled. Okay. Qin Feiyang immediately ran to the kitchen excitedly. What's wrong with this boy? He was still unhappy last night. Why did he become a little different when he went out this morning? Second grandpa looked at Qin Feiyang's back suspiciously. All of a sudden, he shook his head and smiled. What was the point of thinking about this? As long as the boy was happy, it was fine. Happy times always passed quickly. A day passed. At night, Qin Feiyang chatted with second grandpa for a long time. And after being enlightened by fourth grandpa, he slept soundly that night. And he also had a good dream. In the dream, his mother also came to the village, and everyone gathered together. When he woke up the next day, he felt unprecedentedly comfortable. Second grandpa knew that Qin Feiyang was going to leave, so he got up very early and prepared a sumptuous breakfast for Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang also didn't leave anything behind. What was to come would come, and what was to go would go. After helping second grandpa clean up the dishes, Qin Feiyang suppressed the reluctance in his heart and said goodbye to him. Second grandpa didn't say much. He only said 2 sentences. The first sentence was, take care. The second sentence was, take care of Lu Zheng. Chapter 14:14. To the west of the village, more than 2,000 miles away, there was a dense jungle. However, there was not a single beast in the jungle. It was dead silent. Swoosh! But suddenly, a piercing sound could be heard. A young man in white entered the sky above the jungle. It was Qin Feiyang. As soon as he arrived at the sky above the jungle, Qin Feiyang felt that something was wrong. Not only were there no beasts in the jungle, there was not even a flying insect. Moreover, there was a stench in the air. But it was very faint. Qin Feiyang was unable to distinguish what was emitting the smell for a while. He continued to fly forward. The trees here were very thick. There were even some ancient trees that could not be surrounded by more than a dozen people holding hands. The thick vines were like horned dragons, and they were filled with a vigorous aura. But that stench was getting more and more obvious. Qin Feiyang gradually frowned. This stench made him suddenly think of something. Feces. The deeper he went into the jungle, the stronger the stench was. It was simply disgusting. Finally, Qin Feiyang could not help but cover his nose, hold his breath, and murmured, "Did I come to the wrong place? But the Devil Cliff that second grandpa said is in this direction." He was a little puzzled. Soon, he went deep into the jungle for dozens of miles. Suddenly, a giant mountain came into sight. The giant mountain was more than 10,000 feet high. It was completely black. There were no plants on it. It was completely bare. And under the giant mountain, there was an ancient and dilapidated stone tablet. There were 3 bold words engraved on the tablet. Devil Cliff. This is Devil Cliff? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He raised his head and glanced at the giant mountain. He slowly discovered that the pungent stench actually came from Devil Cliff. Swoosh! When Qin Feiyang approached Devil Cliff, the stench was simply overwhelming. Even the smell was crazily drilling into his pores. What exactly is this thing? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. He slowly approached Devil Cliff. Soon, he discovered that the entire surface of Devil Cliff was covered with a layer of sticky stuff. What is this? Qin Feiyang frowned. However, when he was about to reach the Devil's Cliff, his expression changed. He quickly stopped and retreated. That sticky thing was actually feces. He stood in the distance and looked at the Devil's Cliff, the corners of his mouth twitching. So this was Devil's Cliff. It was no wonder that Lu Zheng and the children in the village changed their expressions when they heard about Devil's Cliff. Only a ghost would want to come to such a place. Second cousin, where are you? Come out, we're leaving. Qin Feiyang shouted, not daring to get any closer. Bastard! Immediately, a furious roar exploded halfway up the Devil Mountain, like rolling thunder, resounding through the sky. Following closely, he then saw Lu Zheng flying through the air in an aggressive manner. When Qin Feiyang saw that the situation was not good, he quickly turned around and fled. Qin Feiyang, I'm not done with you today. Lu Zheng stared at Qin Feiyang's back, gnashing his teeth. He looked as if he wanted to skin Qin Feiyang alive. Second cousin, let's talk nicely. Qin Feiyang said. Lu Zheng shouted, there's nothing to talk about, unless you go to Devil's Cliff and stay there for 2 days. I won't do it. Qin Feiyang pursed his lips. If he had known in advance that Devil's Cliff was such a place, he would not have come even if he was beaten to death. Lu Zheng suddenly burned with anger and shouted, you also know that this is not a place for people to stay, then why did you cheat me? I didn't know. Qin Feiyang smiled apologetically. Is not knowing a reason? How can there be such a good thing in the world? Lu Zheng angrily chased after Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang did not fight back. He fled without looking back. On one hand, it was because he was in the wrong. On the other hand, it was because Lu Zheng also had a stench on him. The two of them chased one after the other. After about an hour, a vast sea came into sight. The Lu family was in the Reincarnation Sea. This was just a very big island. Qin Feiyang looked at the sea and frowned. Although he had not entered the sea, he could already feel the terrifying aura. And these auras were basically from 9-star combat emperors. It could be seen that the sea ahead was definitely not a place where ordinary people could set foot. Whoosh! He slammed on the brakes and stopped in the void. He turned around and looked at Lu Zheng. He said angrily, are you done yet? If his second grandpa had not asked him to bring Lu Zheng along, he would not have bothered to take so long. I'm not done. Lu Zheng rushed toward Qin Feiyang with monstrous anger. The morning court in the throne room has already begun. I don't have time to mess around with you now. If you continue to pester me like this, don't blame me for being rude. Qin Feiyang covered his nose and raised his eyebrows. Lu Zheng had stayed on the Devil's Cliff for 2 days. He really smelled like a pile of feces. Seeing Qin Feiyang cover his nose, Lu Zheng was undoubtedly even more annoyed and almost lost his mind. Boom! Qin Feiyang did not waste any more words. His emperor's aura rolled out and directly sent Lu Zheng flying. He said, when you calm down, come to the imperial palace to find me. After that, Qin Feiyang then opened the teleportation gate and rushed in without looking back. Don't go! Lu Zheng roared and immediately rushed toward the portal. Boom! But just as he was about to reach the portal, a surge of purple gold dragon chi roared out of the portal like a tide. Lu Zheng was blasted away again. When he stabilized his body and rushed toward the portal again, the portal had already dissipated. Bastard, I won't let you go, Lu Zheng roared again and again. He was so angry that the sea beasts in the sea ahead were frightened. The Imperial Palace. Civil and military officials, as well as the marquises, gathered in the throne room. But at this moment, the entire throne room was dead silent. The ministers standing in the main hall all lowered their heads and seemed to be deep in thought. Above, the little prince, wearing a dragon robe and a dragon crown, sat on the dragon throne. Although he had just succeeded the throne a few days ago, he already had the temperament of an emperor and was much more mature than before. Next to him, the imperial preceptor stood upright with his hands behind his back, glancing at the people below with sharp eyes. However, at this time, the most eye-catching person was a young man in purple. He stood in front of the ministers, his body straight and his eyes straight, exuding a threatening aura. That's right. He was Zhuge Mingyang. The imperial preceptor raised his eyebrows, looked at everyone, and shouted, "Why are you all so silent? Zhuge Mingyang is the only son of the Marquis of Zhuge. Is there a problem with him inheriting the position of Marquis?" Civil and military officials, the various marquises, you look at me, I look at you, none of them daring to be the first to stand out and express their stance. Suddenly, Marquis Xiao took a step forward, looked at the imperial preceptor and said, "The Zhuge family has been killed by Qin Feiyang, and only Zhuge Mingyang is left. There is naturally no problem for him to inherit the position of Marquis, but I would like to ask the imperial preceptor, does Emperor Hong agree to this? Such an important matter, how dare this imperial preceptor make his own decision? Of course, with the consent of Emperor Hong." The imperial preceptor said expressionlessly, but there was a hint of killing intent hidden in his old eyes. Marquis Xiao said, "Since Emperor Hong has already agreed, then as subjects, we naturally do not dare to have any objections." With that, he retreated. "All right. Marquis Xiao has already agreed, what about you?" The imperial preceptor looked at the others. Marquis Xiao raised his eyebrows, extended his hand and said, "Lord Imperial Preceptor, let me correct you. I only said that I have no objections, I did not say that I agree." "Old thing, you're courting death." Zhuge Mingyang raised his eyebrows, turned his head to look at Marquis Xiao, and a trace of killing intent lurked in his eyes. The imperial preceptor also flew into a rage out of humiliation. He stared at Marquis Xiao and said, "What do you mean?" Marquis Xiao glanced at Zhuge Mingyang, then raised his head to look at the imperial preceptor, and said indifferently, "Marquis Wu inheriting the throne is not a child's play, can't I reserve my opinion?" "Yes, of course." The imperial preceptor nodded and smiled, but his smile was very terrifying. The threat in his eyes was no longer concealed. The officials were terrified. However, Marquis Xiao turned a blind eye to it and said indifferently, "Zhuge Mingyang's talent is obvious to all, but as a martial marquis, what you need is not only talent, but also loyalty." At this point, Marquis Xiao's gaze turned, looked at Zhuge Mingyang, and said, "Zhuge Mingyang, tell this marquis, are you loyal to the great Qin?" The imperial preceptor's face darkened. Zhuge Mingyang couldn't help but clench his fists tightly. "If you are truly loyal to the great Qin, then swear in front of us right now, in the name of your Zhuge family's ancestors, that you will forever be loyal to the great Qin. If you betray us, then the heavens and earth will destroy you. Do you dare?" Marquis Xiao shouted with a stern expression. Zhuge Mingyang's gaze trembled. Could it be that this Marquis Xiao knew something? "Marquis Xiao, your words are a bit too much. Zhuge Mingyang is a subject of my great Qin, how is he not loyal?" Suddenly, a martial marquis looked at Marquis Xiao with dissatisfaction. This person was Marquis Qian Wu. Marquis Xiao said, "I only want him to swear an oath, what's so difficult about that?" Marquis Qian Wu said, "There's no problem with swearing an oath, but I just feel that your attitude is too aggressive, and I feel that you are targeting Zhuge Mingyang." "I think so too." "Marquis Xiao, do you have any enmity with Zhuge Mingyang? Why are you targeting him like this?" Another martial marquis stood up to speak up for Zhuge Mingyang. This person was Marquis Wu. Marquis Xiao frowned. Marquis and Wu glanced at him indifferently, and said, "Actually, there's not much meaning in swearing an oath. I only want to say one thing, as long as you have a clear conscience." With that, he raised his head to look at the imperial tutor and the little prince, and bowed. "Imperial tutor, your majesty, this subject agrees that Zhuge Mingyang should inherit the title of Marquis of Zhuge." This subject also agrees. Marquis Qian Wu followed. This subject agrees as well. Another three martial marquis stepped out in unison and said to the imperial tutor and the little prince. These three people were the Marquis of Qi Wu, Marquis Mo Wu and Marquis Gu Wu, who had been bribed by the imperial tutor. The imperial tutor nodded his head in satisfaction and looked at the others. Who else has any objections? If not, this imperial tutor will announce it. As he spoke, he took out an imperial edict. Marquis Xiao looked at the other marquis and ministers, his brows tightly knitted together. The marquis and ministers all expressed their opinions one after another, and in the end, none of them objected. "Qin Feiyang, hurry up and show yourself. Otherwise, no one will be able to stop the imperial tutor," Marquis Xiao muttered to himself. The imperial tutor coldly glanced at Marquis Xiao, waved his hand, and opened the imperial edict. All the civil and military officials immediately knelt on the ground, including the Marquis of Xiao. When the imperial edict was read, no matter who it was, they had to kneel down and listen. This was a rule that had been left behind since ancient times, and even a martial marquis could not violate it. However, just as the imperial tutor was about to read the imperial edict, a man in white suddenly descended in front of the door of the throne room. Who else could it be but Qin Feiyang? Looking at the imperial tutor who was about to read the imperial edict, Qin Feiyang heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he had arrived in time. Following that, he sneered, strode into the throne room, and said, "Zhuge Mingyang inherits the throne. Have you asked for my opinion, Qin Feiyang?" Qin Feiyang. Chapter 14-15. Qin Feiyang. Why is he here? At the same time, there was an uproar in the throne room. All the marquises and ministers looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. Zhuge Mingyang, the state preceptor, and the young prince also looked at Qin Feiyang with hatred in their eyes. The young prince suddenly shouted, "Outsiders are not allowed to enter the throne room during the morning court. Stop him." The Kirin army guarding the throne room didn't dare to stop Qin Feiyang, but after hearing the young prince's order, they could only brace themselves to stop Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang looked at the little prince. The hatred in his eyes was clearly visible. "Hating me is the right thing to do. Because only hatred can make you grow quickly," Qin Feiyang murmured. Looking at the Kirin army in front of him, he lightly said, "Get out of the way. This is His Majesty White Sky's decree. We have to do it. Don't make things difficult for us, okay?" The Kirin army looked at Qin Feiyang pleadingly. Qin Feiyang glanced at them one by one and nodded, "Okay, I won't make things difficult for you." The Kirin army sighed in relief. However, right at the moment when they thought that Qin Feiyang would retreat, Qin Feiyang suddenly waved his hand. A strong wind rose, and they were immediately blown away. "Impudent!" A Kirin army shouted angrily. "Are you stupid? He already showed mercy. Why are you still shouting? If it weren't for the fact that we're commanders, we would have already gone to hell. Shut up. Anyway, we've already stopped him. It's not disobeying His Majesty White Sky's order. What happens next has nothing to do with us." The other members of the Qilin army immediately shouted at that person. Inside the hall, Qin Feiyang stepped in front of the ministers and stood next to Zhuge Mingyang. He cupped his hands and said, "This commoner Qin Feiyang greets His Majesty White Sky. I don't want to see you. Get out of here at once." The young prince stood up and shouted. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, after I've finished dealing with the matters here, this commoner will naturally leave without the need for your majesty to say anything. In addition, you are now the ruler of a country, so you must pay attention to your image. Try not to do something like yelling and shouting in the imperial court again. The little prince angrily stared at Qin Feiyang. In the end, he coldly snorted, clenched his two small hands, and returned to the dragon throne. Qin Feiyang, although you and His Majesty White Sky are brothers, you've already been expelled from the imperial palace. Please leave immediately. Marquis Qianwu's eyes flashed as he stood up and shouted at Qin Feiyang. He would never forget the death of his son. In the past. Because he was afraid of Qin Feiyang, he did not dare to say a word. But now, with the imperial tutor, a peak false god, supporting him, he was no longer afraid. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and turned to look at Marquis Qianwu with a playful look in his eyes. Did I say something wrong? This is the most sacred throne room. How can a commoner like you barge in? Marquis Qianwu coldly shouted, then looked at the ministers around him and said, all of you, tell me, am I right? Obviously, he was fanning the flames. But the result disappointed Marquis Qianwu. No one present dared to say a word. Even Marquis En Wu, Marquis Mo Wu, Marquis Gu Wu, and Marquis Qi Wu, who were in the same camp as him, remained silent. Qin Feiyang laughed in ridicule, looked at the ministers and said, there's something I suddenly forgot. Can any of you remind me, how many times have I destroyed the throne room? Everyone's heart trembled. From his tone, was he going to destroy the throne room again? If it was anyone else, they would definitely not think so. Because no one dared to be impudent in the throne room. But Qin Feiyang was a person who could not be treated with ordinary eyes. Qin Feiyang looked at Marquis Qianwu and sneered, I even dared to destroy the throne room, do you think I would be afraid of you fanning the flames here? Marquis Qianwu's expression froze. The imperial tutor suppressed his anger and said in a deep voice, Qin Feiyang, what exactly do you want? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, looked at the imperial tutor and said, last night, the ancestor gave me a dream, do you know what it was? The imperial tutor raised his eyebrows. The ancestor told me two things. The first is about Zhuge Mingyang inheriting the marquis title. The ancestor said that this Zhuge Mingyang has disloyalty to the great Qin and cannot be allowed to inherit the marquis title. Qin Feiyang chuckled. Ridiculous. Let's not talk about whether your dream is real or not, just your words are not credible. The imperial tutor sneered. Of course my words are not credible. However, I wonder if Lord Imperial Tutor still remembers that I told you that I have a recording of your conversation with the Grand Valley Master? Qin Feiyang teased. The Imperial Tutor's pupils constricted as he sent a voice transmission, don't think that you can threaten me with that recording? Did I threaten you? Qin Feiyang asked back. If that's not a threat, then what is? The Imperial Tutor said angrily. Qin Feiyang laughed. I just want you to understand a principle, as long as I, Qin Feiyang, am here, you can't do whatever you want. The imperial tutor clenched his fists. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly, turned to look at the officials, and said, everyone must be thinking, isn't it just a dream? What is there to believe? But I want to tell you that this is a dream from the ancestor, even if it is not credible, you have to consider it carefully. Ridiculous. This is too ridiculous. Marquis Qianwu roared with righteous indignation. Qin Feiyang changed the topic and said angrily, you even dare to question the ancestor, blaspheme, are you courting death? Marquis Qianwu's body trembled, this was a serious crime, and hurriedly said, I don't dare to blaspheme the previous emperor, but who knows if your dream is real or fake? Only I know about dreams. Of course I can't verify whether it is real or fake. But we don't know if Zhuge Mingyang has any disloyalty. Therefore, I suggest that Zhuge Mingyang's succession of the marquis title be postponed for the time being. I wonder if anyone has any objections? If there is, don't hesitate to say it. After all, I, Qin Feiyang, am a very democratic person. I respect everyone's opinion. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Democracy? Respect? Hearing this, many people snorted in their hearts, but no one dared to show it. Because they didn't want to follow in the footsteps of the Zhuge family. Zhuge Mingyang could no longer hold back the anger in his heart. He stared at Qin Feiyang and roared, "Don't go too far. How can such a kind person like me bully you? I'm doing this for the sake of the great Qin, and for your own good. Because everyone is now wondering if you have any ulterior motives. So I have to investigate as soon as possible and prove your innocence. Moreover, if you really don't have any disloyalty, then the marquis title will be yours sooner or later. What are you afraid of?" Qin Feiyang teased. Zhuge Mingyang said angrily, "Who said I'm afraid? You're just spouting nonsense." Qin Feiyang laughed. "There's a good saying, if you don't do anything wrong, you won't be afraid of ghosts knocking on your door. Since you're not afraid, then cooperate with my investigation. Don't try to twist words. Who do you think you are? Why should I cooperate with you?" Zhuge Mingyang was unable to restrain his anger. Seeing that the situation was not good, the state preceptor shouted, "Shut up." Zhuge Mingyang was not convinced. He looked at the state preceptor and said angrily, "Lord State Preceptor, this is the throne room, you're just going to let him mess around like this? Stupid. Can't you see that Qin Feiyang is setting a trap for you? He wants to provoke you on purpose, make you lose your mind and say those things you shouldn't say, understand?" The state preceptor shouted. Hearing this, Zhuge Mingyang's eyes trembled slightly. He looked at Qin Feiyang gloomily and said, "I, Zhuge Mingyang, have a clear conscience, you can say whatever you want." Qin Feiyang glanced at the state preceptor. As expected, the older the ginger, the spicier it was. He had seen through his scheme so quickly and woke up Zhuge Mingyang. Qin Feiyang looked at the civil and military officials and said impatiently, "All of you, say something. I propose to postpone Zhuge Mingyang's succession as the Martial Marquis. Do you have any objections?" Marquis Xiao's eyes flashed, and said, "This Marquis agrees to postpone it." Heard of it? The state preceptor and Zhuge Mingyang immediately looked at Marquis Xiao, the killing intent in their hearts unprecedentedly strong. Marquis Qianwu raised his eyebrows and said angrily, "Marquis Xiao, what do you mean? Could it be that you have already been bribed by Qin Feiyang? Impudent. Is this something a marquis dares to say?" Marquis Xiao glared at Marquis Qianwu. Marquis Qianwu said indifferently, "This marquis is only voicing the doubts in my heart." What a joke. Before Qin Feiyang appeared, this marquis had already said that Zhuge Mingyang had ulterior motives, so this marquis only agreed with his own point of view, and has nothing to do with Qin Feiyang. If you continue to spread rumors that this marquis is colluding with Qin Feiyang, then this marquis has reason to suspect that you are the same as Zhuge Mingyang, and also have ulterior motives towards the great Qin. Marquis Xiao said. Marquis Qianwu was so angry that he was actually bitten back. All right, the two of you stop arguing. Since everyone can't agree on this matter, then let's discuss it later. Let me first talk about the second dream that the ancestor gave me. Qin Feiyang said. Everyone couldn't help but frown. What kind of trick was this kid playing now? Especially the state preceptor. At this moment, there was an indescribable sense of irritation in his heart. Qin Feiyang laughed. This second dream is related to some martial marquis. The various martial marquis immediately became nervous. The ancestor told me that recently, there have been some martial marquis who have been very dishonest. They are clearly taking our great Qin's salary, but they colluded with some old bastard and colluded with him. Qin Feiyang swept his gaze across the group of martial marquis with a playful expression. The group of martial marquis, other than Marquis Xiao, were all somewhat flustered. Because they all knew who the old bastard Qin Feiyang was talking about was. And during this period of time, they had more or less interacted with the state preceptor. Of course. The ones who were the most flustered were Marquis Qianwu and the other four. Because they had already sided with the state preceptor. Marquis Xiao glanced at the state preceptor, and a cold smile flashed across his eyes. Looking at Qin Feiyang, he pretended to be confused and said, "Qin Feiyang, can you speak more clearly? We don't understand." "All right. I'll make it clearer. As a martial marquis of the great Qin Empire, who should you be loyal to? Naturally, you should be loyal to the great Qin and His Majesty the White Sky. But some people have made the wrong choice and pledged their loyalty to an old bastard. Marquis Qianwu, Marquis Anwu, Marquis Mou, Marquis Chiwu, Marquis Gawu, the five of you are the most senior marquis in my great Qin. Why don't you answer me? How should I deal with such a marquis?" Chapter 14-16. Marquis Qianwu and the other four who were called out immediately panicked. "What are you panicking for? Could it be that the ancestors' dream is true, and those dishonest martial marquis are you?" Qin Feiyang looked at the five of them suspiciously. "Don't spout nonsense. Our loyalty to Great Qin, to His Majesty White Sky, is witnessed by the heavens and earth." The five of them glared at Qin Feiyang angrily and said. Qin Feiyang said impatiently, "Then tell me, how should we deal with those martial marquis who are not loyal to Great Qin and His Majesty White Sky?" Marquis Qianwu said, "If there really is such a person, he should immediately be stripped of his position as a martial marquis." "Wrong." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "What's wrong?" Marquis Qianwu frowned. "Towards these disloyal and unjust martial marquis, only by killing them without mercy will we be able to uphold the imperial court and enforce the law." Qin Feiyang said word by word, killing intent surging in his eyes. Before he could finish, Thunder Leopard, Seahorse, Seal, Wang Yangfeng, and Wang Yishan appeared out of thin air. Impudent. The imperial tutor had always been paying attention to Qin Feiyang. Because he knew that Qin Feiyang would definitely cause a ruckus today, so when he saw Thunder Leopard, the other two beasts, and Wang Yishan appear, he realized that something was wrong and immediately attacked Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang ignored him, pointed at Marquis Qianwu and the other four, and shouted, "Kill them all. Old thing, this emperor has long disliked you, die." Lei Bao looked at Marquis Qianwu and laughed, then turned into a bolt of lightning and flew over like lightning. Seahorse, Seahorse, Wang Yishan, and Wang Yangfeng also immediately charged towards Marquis Anwu and the other three. Seeing this situation, the other marquis, ministers, and Zhuge Mingyang all ran outside as if they were running for their lives. Marquis Qianwu and the other four also wanted to escape, but would Thunder Leopard, the other two beasts, and Wang Yangfeng give them a chance? Obviously not. "Lord Imperial Tutor, save us." The five of them desperately called for help from the Imperial Tutor. The state preceptor rushed towards Qin Feiyang and roared, "Tell them to stop, or don't blame me for being merciless." Whoosh! But suddenly, an old figure appeared in front of the Imperial Tutor without any warning. It was Old Man Qin. As soon as Old Man Qin appeared, he struck out with his palm. The Imperial Preceptor was caught off guard. Even though his cultivation was higher than Old Man Qin's, he still suffered a great loss. His entire body was sent flying and crashed into the wall beside the dragon throne. With a loud bang, a large hole was instantly created in the wall. Ah! Meanwhile, under the thunderous attacks of the Thunder Leopard, and Wang Yangfeng, Marquis Qianwu's group of 5 died on the spot without any suspense. Dead, it's not enough to kill Zhuge Wu Ho, he actually killed another 5 martial marquis, too presumptuous. Is there no one who can control him? The marquises, ministers, Kirin army, and Zhuge Mingyang standing outside were all dumbfounded. This bastard had no regard for the law. One had to know that this was still in the throne room. Done. Thunder Leopard, and Wang Yangfeng returned to Qin Feiyang's side and laughed. Well done. Qin Feiyang nodded. Old man Qin also retreated to Qin Feiyang's side and said in a low voice, killing Qianwu Marquis and the others in front of him, the Imperial Preceptor will definitely go crazy. Sure enough, it was as expected. Just as old man Qin finished speaking, the Imperial Preceptor's angry roar sounded out. Qin Feiyang, even if you want to release that video, this Imperial Preceptor will not let you off today. Boom! A terrifying divine might erupted, causing the entire throne room to shake violently and immediately begin to collapse. Whiz! Following closely. The Imperial Preceptor rushed out of the hole like a crazed beast, charging towards Qin Feiyang's group. Quick! Old man Qin urged. At this moment, the Imperial Preceptor gave off a great sense of fear. Qin Feiyang did not dare to hesitate and immediately prepared to bring everyone into the castle. But at this moment, his expression changed drastically. Because he suddenly realized that the little prince was still sitting on the dragon throne. Moreover, the roof of the hall had already collapsed, and a huge beam was smashing towards the little prince. The little prince had just started cultivating, and with his weak body, if he was hit, there was no doubt that his blood would splatter on the spot. However, the furious Imperial Preceptor was completely unaware of the little prince's current danger. Of course. With the Imperial Preceptor's current state, even if he saw the little prince's situation, he might not necessarily care. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent Thunder Leopard, and Wang Yangfeng to the ancient tower. Then, he rushed towards the little prince like lightning and roared, "Old man Qin, stop him." Qin Feiyang's sudden action puzzled old man Qin. But when he saw the little prince, he immediately understood and immediately rushed towards the Imperial Preceptor. In the blink of an eye, Qin Feiyang rushed to the little prince's side and smashed the beam with his palm. He lowered his head and glared at the little prince, shouting, "Why didn't you leave just now? Do you want to die?" The little prince did not say a word and only looked at him coldly. Qin Feiyang could not help but feel helpless. He picked up the little prince and turned into a ray of light. He smashed the roof of the hall with his fist and rushed up into the sky. Boom! The divine might of old man Qin and the Imperial Preceptor shocked everyone. Figures continued to soar into the sky and looked towards the Imperial Palace. It's Qin Feiyang. What is he doing? Did he kidnap Emperor Hao Tian? Heavens, what is he trying to do? No matter what, Emperor Hao Tian is still his younger brother. How can he be so heartless? Looking at the little prince in Qin Feiyang's hand, everyone immediately roared with righteous indignation. It's the young lord. He really has broken through to the 4-star combat emperor realm. Damn it, this speed is too heaven-defying. At the same time, among the crowd, there were 8 young men and women. It was Wang Zicheng and the others. At this moment, they looked at Qin Feiyang from afar with disbelief. After the 2 continents were connected, there were now many people from the Forgotten Continent in the Imperial City. Of course. In the Central Divine Kingdom's Divine City, there were also many people from Great Qin. It's really Qin Feiyang. This bastard is indeed a star of calamity. Wherever he goes, he brings disaster. However, I'm afraid he won't be able to escape this time. Is there even a need to say that? The Mu family, the main pagoda, Great Qin, and the mysterious madam are all looking for him. When they receive the news and rush over, even if this bastard has heaven-defying abilities, only death awaits him. Everyone was discussing. No matter if it was Great Qin's people or Forgotten Continent's people, they all had a gloating attitude. However, Qin Feiyang did not have the time to care about all of this. He looked nervously at the Imperial Palace below. Boom! Suddenly, Old Man Qin flew out of the throne room like a meteor and smashed into a large hall several li away. Following a loud explosion, a huge crater appeared in the ground. The surrounding palaces also collapsed one after another. Countless palace maids and eunuchs were affected. Qin Feiyang's heart sank. He did not expect old Qin to be injured so easily by the imperial tutor. The gap between the peak of the semi-divinity realm and the semi-divinity realm was too big. Qin Feiyang, you son of a bitch, I'll definitely kill you today. Following a furious roar, the imperial tutor rushed into the sky with a monstrous aura. Boom! The shattered imperial palace also completely collapsed, turning into ruins. The throne room was once again destroyed because of Qin Feiyang. Can't that bastard stop for a bit? Isn't that right? It was fine in the past because there were no people from the Forgotten Continent. However, with so many outsiders watching, isn't he embarrassing Great Qin? Don't wash your dirty linen in public. He's really embarrassing us. Everyone was indignant, and their expressions were filled with disgust for Qin Feiyang. However, why did Qin Feiyang do this? Wasn't it to protect Great Qin and them? They did not know anything, so what right did they have to criticize Qin Feiyang? I didn't expect young master's situation to be so bad in Great Qin. Yeah. It's worse than when he was on the Forgotten Continent. It's really hard on him. He has to protect Great Qin while being cursed by Great Qin's people. If it were me, I would have already turned on him. However, he silently endured it. Who can understand the pain in his heart? Wang Zicheng and the others could not help but sigh inwardly. Although they did not know the real situation, based on their understanding of Qin Feiyang, it was not difficult to guess that Qin Feiyang did this for the sake of Great Qin. Qin Feiyang. The imperial tutor flew into the sky and charged towards Qin Feiyang immediately. The killing intent in his eyes was undisguised. Feiyang, run! Old Qin rushed out of the deep crater. Seeing the situation, his expression changed and he anxiously roared. Qin Feiyang glanced at old Qin and smiled coldly at the imperial tutor. He was about to put down the little prince and enter the ancient castle. However, at this moment, a strong sense of danger rose in his heart. Immediately after, he felt a tearing pain in his lower abdomen. He lowered his head and saw that a dagger had appeared in the little prince's hand at some point in time. The dagger was very short, only about half a foot long. It was like a toy knife, but it was very sharp. The tip of the dagger had already pierced through Qin Feiyang's lower abdomen. Qin Feiyang immediately frowned. He raised his other arm and snatched the dagger from the little prince's hand. Although the little prince's actions were unexpected, the dagger did not pierce through his qi. However, Qin Feiyang's expression darkened. He lowered his head to look at the little prince. The little prince also raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang. There was no fear on his tender little face. The imperial tutor, old Qin, and the surrounding civil and military officials were stunned on the spot when they saw this scene. They didn't expect that the little prince would attack Qin Feiyang. But then, everyone couldn't help but become nervous. Because they all knew Qin Feiyang too well. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. For Qin Feiyang, anyone who wanted to harm him, he would not let them go. The first prince and the others in the past were the best examples. Feiyang, don't be impulsive, old Qin murmured. His palms were sweating. He was afraid that Qin Feiyang's slap would end the little prince's life. After the imperial tutor came back to his senses, his eyes flickered. Qin Feiyang, stop. Suddenly, Emperor Hong's voice came from afar. Emperor Hong was like a bolt of lightning, tearing through the sky. In less than 3 breaths, he had arrived in front of Qin Feiyang. But Qin Feiyang ignored him. He lowered his head and stared at the little prince with a cold light in his eyes. Emperor Hong was also extremely nervous. He is your younger brother after all, and he is young and ignorant. Why do you have to bother with him? Let him go. Take it as great-grandfather begging you. Great-grandfather? Chapter 14-17. It could be said. Qin Feiyang did not hold back when he said those words. In front of so many people, being ridiculed like this in front of everyone, Emperor Hong also had a face full of shame, unable to show his face. What is it? Nothing to say? Qin Feiyang sneered. Emperor Hong said, this old man doesn't care what you say, as long as you can let Haotian go. You care about him that much? Qin Feiyang was startled, then grinned and said, then do you know that what I like to do the most is to destroy the things that others care about the most? You dare. Emperor Hong immediately glared at him. Do you think I don't dare? Qin Feiyang chuckled, playing with the dagger that the little prince had used to attack him. The sharp blade gleamed with a cold light. Emperor Hong's body and mind tightened, and he hurriedly said, don't hurt him, this old man. I beg you. Ugh. Qin Feiyang was stunned, and said, what did you say? Say it again, I didn't hear it clearly just now. Emperor Hong stared at Qin Feiyang, clenched his fists, and gritted his teeth, this old man begs you. Huh, Qin Feiyang laughed out loud. He actually put down his pride to beg him? If it was in private, with only the two of them, it would be fine. But now, there were a lot of people looking at them. Wasn't this old fellow afraid that he would become the laughingstock of everyone in the future? I beg you. Emperor Hong opened his mouth again, his eyes bloodshot. As the son of the Qin emperor, and also the second-generation emperor who ruled the great Qin, he was also Qin Feiyang's great-grandfather. But now, he was so humble in front of Qin Feiyang. It could be imagined that he did not feel good in his heart. But at this moment, he had no choice but to endure it. Originally, I was quite angry, but looking at your funny face, I feel much better. Alright, seeing that you are so sincere, I will return the little prince to you. But I have a condition. Qin Feiyang said. Speak. Emperor Hong said. Before entering the divine site, you and the imperial advisor are not allowed to do anything to me or the people around me. As Qin Feiyang spoke, he pointed to old man Qin in the distance and added, including him. Lord Emperor Hong, you can't agree to it. The imperial preceptor's expression changed as he hurriedly said. If you don't agree to his conditions, do you have any other way to save Haotian from him? Emperor Hong was inwardly vexed. Looking at Qin Feiyang, he nodded and said, this old man promises you. Don't go back on your word. Qin Feiyang said. Emperor Hong said in a deep voice, with so many people watching and listening, this old man can't afford to lose this face. That's true. Qin Feiyang nodded. He lowered his head to look at the little prince, and said, grow up quickly, because with your current ability, you can't even get close to me, let alone avenge your mother. One day, I will personally send you to hell. The little prince enunciated each word clearly. Your courage is commendable, but it depends on whether or not you have the strength. Qin Feiyang laughed disdainfully, then picked up the little prince and threw him to Emperor Hong. Emperor Hong hurriedly extended his hands and caught the little prince. He asked with concern, are you all right, child? I'm fine. The little prince shook his head. It's good that you're fine. Emperor Hong heaved a sigh of relief. With a light wave of his hand, the little prince landed safely on the ground. A group of Kirin army immediately surrounded him and carefully protected him. The imperial preceptor looked at Emperor Hong and said, my lord, you have to think twice. Not only did he kidnap the little prince, he also killed 5 martial marquis in the imperial court. Kidnap? Qin Feiyang laughed coldly, looked at the imperial preceptor and said, "If I hadn't saved him, he would have been smashed to death by the beam. I would like to ask, what were you doing at that time? Have you ever worried about his safety? That was also caused by you. If you didn't have people kill Qianwu Marquis and the others, would Imperial Preceptor be so angry? To the point of losing his mind?" The Imperial Preceptor coldly snorted. Qin Feiyang said, "So to say, saving him is still my fault?" The Imperial Preceptor laughed sinisterly, "It was your fault to begin with." Emperor Hong asked, "Which martial marquis did he kill?" The Imperial Preceptor looked at Emperor Hong and said truthfully, "Qianwu Marquis, Anwu Marquis, Mo Wu Marquis, Gu Wu Marquis, Qi Wu Marquis, all the civil and military officials can testify." How preposterous! Emperor Hong was furious. With a wave of his hand, a vast and mighty pressure surged out and enveloped Qin Feiyang in an instant. Old man Qin's expression changed as he roared, "Emperor Hong, you are the son of the previous emperor. Just now, you personally agreed to Qin Feiyang's conditions. I hope you can take care of your face and be a man of your word. You've already made this old man lose all his face. Would this old man still care? Moreover, this boy held the Son of Heaven hostage, killed loyal people, and committed all kinds of evil. If this old man continues to ignore it, how will the world talk about this old man behind his back? They will definitely say that this old man cares about family ties, bends the law for personal gain, and covers up and connives at Qin Feiyang. This crime is even greater. This old man doesn't want to be a sinner for all eternity. Therefore, this old man will place righteousness before family today and get rid of this malignant tumor, returning peace to great Qin." Emperor Hong said, his words righteous and awe-inspiring. "Well said." The Imperial Preceptor praised. "That's right. This kind of evil person should be eliminated as soon as possible. Lord Emperor Hong, we all support you. The entire Great Qin's people also support you." Some martial marquis also roared, filled with righteous indignation. Emperor Hong looked at them one by one, his old face full of gratification. Following that, he looked at old man Qin and shouted, "Did you see that? Qin Feiyang's actions these few years have long aroused public indignation. If this old man doesn't kill him today, how will I account to the world?" Old man Qin lamented, "Lord Emperor Hong, the older you get, the more muddle-headed you become. Preposterous, you still dare to humiliate this old man. You colluded with Qin Feiyang, plotted to usurp the throne, your crime is also unforgivable. Imperial Preceptor, immediately arrest him. If he dares to resist, execute him on the spot." Emperor Hong roared. "Yes." The Imperial Preceptor responded respectfully, turned to look at old man Qin, and said with a cold smile, "Old man, today is your doomsday." Boom! Finished speaking. Divine might surged out, charging towards old man Qin. My dignified great Qin actually doesn't have a reasonable person, letting wolves rule the road, how lamentable. Great Qin is not far from destruction. Old man Qin raised his head and laughed wildly, incomparably sorrowful. Deceiving the public with lies, damn it. A strong killing intent flashed in the Imperial Preceptor's eyes. Bastard, this old man won't let you continue to be so insolent. Today, even if my body is smashed to pieces, this old man will drag you down to hell together. Old man Qin smiled sinisterly, his divine might erupting with a bang, carrying a sense of determination as he faced the Imperial Preceptor. Old man Qin, what are you going to do? Qin Feiyang said in shock and anger. Don't worry about me, if there's a chance, run away. But you have to promise me, after you become strong, you must pacify the chaos of Great Qin and protect the rivers and mountains left behind by the previous emperor. If someone dares to stir up trouble, even if it's a relative whose blood is thicker than water, please don't show mercy. Old man Qin roared. This sentence was already very obvious. This family whose blood was thicker than water was undoubtedly referring to Emperor Hong and the emperor these people. Old Man Qin was a person who valued friendship and righteousness. To be able to make him harden his heart to say these words, it could be seen how disappointed he was with Emperor Hong at this moment. I will. Qin Feiyang said silently, then looked at Emperor Hong and said, Cancer? Righteousness over family? You're really good. Cut the crap, this old man will send you on your way now. Emperor Hong shouted coldly, took a step forward, and mercilessly slapped towards Qin Feiyang's head. On the other side, State Preceptor and Old Man Qin also collided. Old bastard, die with this old man. Old Man Qin laughed sinisterly, a destructive aura rushed out of his body, and the void immediately shattered crazily. This, State Preceptor's body stiffened, and he immediately turned around to flee, roaring, Emperor Hong, he's going to self-destruct, run. What? Self-destruct? Emperor Hong's body and mind trembled. How could he have thought that Old Man Qin would actually do such a crazy thing? False god self-destruct, even if he was a supreme existence of the peak false god realm, it would be difficult to escape death. This was not the main point. The main point was that once Old Man Qin self-destructed, the entire imperial palace and imperial city would instantly be reduced to ashes. No one here would be spared, and they would all die. Old Man Qin, I'm sorry, I caused your death. If I didn't have to save the little prince, how could you fall to such a state? Qin Feiyang closed his eyes in pain, 2 drops of tears silently falling from the corner of his eyes. False god is going to self-destruct, everyone run. At the same time, whether it was the imperial palace, the temple, or the major cities, they were all in a panic at this moment. Everyone scrambled to open the teleportation gate and escape. False god self-destruct? Damn it, this is a bit too much. Wang Zicheng's group of 8 also fled at the sight of the wind. Never would they have thought that the situation would become so serious. Humph. However, at this moment, above the imperial palace, a cold snort suddenly sounded. As the people fled, they hurriedly glanced around and found that it was a mysterious man in white. His figure was tall and imposing, and his entire body exuded an astonishing aura. It was not difficult to determine that he should be a young man. However, he wore a white mask on his face, covering his true appearance. No one knew who he was. However, sensing this person's aura, Qin Feiyang immediately became spirited, and transmitted, Old Man Qin, there is a turning point, don't self-destruct. However, Old Man Qin turned a deaf ear. Qin Feiyang anxiously shouted, if you self-destruct now, you may not be able to kill the imperial advisor. Don't die in vain, you are a loyal person of my great Qin. I don't want you to die, and I don't want you to lose your life for a damn old bastard. It's not worth it. Old Man Qin's body trembled slightly, and suddenly woke up. He quickly stopped self-destructing, and that destructive aura also retreated like a tide. Stopped self-destructing? Everyone was surprised. The imperial advisor also stopped and looked at Old Man Qin suspiciously. Emperor Hong's brows also tightened. But the next moment, everyone raised their heads in unison and looked at the masked man in white. As soon as this person appeared, Old Man Qin stopped self-destructing. It was enough to see that this person was definitely related to Qin Feiyang, and might even be the reinforcements that Qin Feiyang had found. It's really a false alarm. If Old Man Qin really self-destructed, not to mention the imperial advisor and Emperor Hong, people like us will definitely die. Yeah. Although I haven't seen a fake god self-destruct with my own eyes, I can imagine how scared it is. Wang Zicheng's group of 8 also heaved a sigh of relief. Their clothes were soaked in cold sweat. This was too crazy. He glanced at Lu Jiajin curiously, then looked at Emperor Hong and said, "Didn't you hear what this brother said just now? Immediately put away your tortoise's might, or I'll get angry. If I get angry, your great Qin will really be finished." Emperor Hong glanced at Lu Jiajin and Lu Xingchen, his expression uncertain. Lu Xingchen raised his eyebrows and said, "Looks like you have to force me to make a move. Changyun, immediately go and call your big brother out of seclusion." "Yes." Mu Changyun responded respectfully. He smiled coldly at Emperor Hong and turned to rush towards the spatial gate. Mu Changyun's big brother was naturally Mu Changfeng. The two brothers were both supreme existences at the peak of the false god realm. Damn it! Emperor Hong clenched his fists and quickly withdrew his pressure. Lu Xingchen laughed mockingly and said indifferently, "Come back. He's still tactful. There's no need to alarm your big brother." Hearing this, Mu Changyun turned in the air and landed beside Lu Xingchen. Emperor Hong swept his gaze across the group of people and said gloomily, "Can you all scram now? We don't dare to leave now. You're too despicable. What if you attack Brother Qin again after we leave? Don't make any promises to us. We won't believe you. Because of what happened before, the people below have already told me. You clearly agreed to Qin Feiyang's conditions, but in the end, you went back on your word. You even said that you would place righteousness above family. Such a hypocritical thing, only a shameless old thing like you can do it. So, your credibility with us is already zero." Lu Xingchen mocked. "Then what do you want?" Emperor Hong said angrily. Lu Xingchen laughed and said, "That depends on Brother Qin. He can do whatever he wants." Emperor Hong looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a cold light, and said, "You didn't expect that the situation would change so quickly, right?" Emperor Hong clenched his fingers tightly, making cracking sounds. "Humph! How can such a lively scene be missing from my main pagoda?" At this time, another hoarse cold snort sounded in the sky. Main pagoda. Everyone was shocked and hurriedly looked over. They saw an old man rushing out of the space-time gate, his aura incomparably powerful. He seems to be called Wang Su, a senior figure of the main pagoda, with an important position. But what is he doing here? Everyone was suspicious. I didn't expect that a mere Qin Feiyang could actually cause such a huge commotion in the Great Qin Empire. Is the Great Qin Empire without the Qin Emperor so weak? After Wang Su appeared, another voice came from the spatial gate. This time, there was a hint of mockery in this voice. This was a woman's voice. The next moment, a woman in white flew out of the space-time gate and entered everyone's line of sight. Who is she? I've never seen her before. The people of Great Qin were shocked. However, the people of Forgotten Continent said, "You haven't seen her before, but you must have heard of her name." What name? The people of Great Qin were bewildered. Mysterious Madam. The people of Forgotten Continent said. What? She is the mysterious Madam? What is she doing here again? Could it be that she's here to settle the score with Qin Feiyang? Wait, the main pagoda and Qin Feiyang also have a deep grudge. Could it be that she's also taking the opportunity to kill Qin Feiyang? Everyone whispered to each other, discussing animatedly. High up in the sky, Wang Su looked at the mysterious madam, a cold light flashing in his eyes. The mysterious madam said, "You'd better not look at me like that again, or else I'll dig out your eyeballs and feed them to the dogs." So arrogant. Even the senior figures of the main pagoda are not in their eyes. They are indeed as lawless as the rumors say. People muttered. Humph. Wang Su snorted through his nose, turned around, and swooped down, flying towards the place where Qin Feiyang and the others were. The mysterious madam smiled contemptuously and flew down as well. Not good. Last time in the Endless Sea, young master set a trap for the main pagoda and the mysterious madam and stole the god crystal. They definitely won't let this go. Wang Zicheng frowned. That's right. And I also received news that the main pagoda master and the imperial tutor are colluding to kill young master together. The black monkey said in a deep voice. Sigh. Indeed, before the first wave has subsided, another wave has risen. Young master's situation will probably be even more dangerous than before. The 8 of them were all worried. They really wanted to help. But facing the main pagoda, the mysterious madam, and a colossus like Great Qin, they wanted to help but were powerless. At the same time, seeing the mysterious madam and Wang Su appear one after another, Qin Feiyang's heart sank. Let's not talk about Wang Su first, let's talk about the mysterious madam. He understood this woman quite well. She was a person who would not take revenge. The most important thing was, behind this woman, in addition to the teacher of the Miss of the Dragon Phoenix House, there was also a peak false god that even Mu Changyun was afraid of. Swish! Wang Su and the mysterious madam descended one after another. The mysterious madam immediately looked at Qin Feiyang, the anger in her eyes undisguised. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but panic in his heart, and said, "Big cousin, this woman is not a good person, let's retreat." Lu Jiajin nodded. But the mysterious madam knew Qin Feiyang too well, and instantly saw through Qin Feiyang's plan, and said coldly, "Boy, if you dare to move, I will slaughter the people of Great Qin." Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. He never doubted what the mysterious madam said. According to my inquiries, there are 3 false gods in the main tower, and the mysterious madam herself is a false god, and there is a peak false god behind her. The imperial tutor said. Emperor Hong thought, then with us, we can definitely fight with Qin Feiyang and the others? Yes. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And if we kill Qin Feiyang now, we can also snatch the 3 kinds of pill fire from him. The imperial tutor thought, his killing intent rising. Chapter 14-19. Emperor Hong's heart skipped a beat. If he could snatch all 3 types of pill fire from Qin Feiyang's body, then this time Great Qin would have 3,000 people enter the miracle. Thinking of this, Emperor Hong's eyes flashed with killing intent as he shouted, "Do it!" The imperial preceptor had been waiting impatiently for a long time. Hearing Emperor Hong's words, he immediately attacked towards Qin Feiyang. Really stubborn. Lu Xingchen smiled coldly and waved his hand. Mu Changyun, who was standing behind him, immediately rushed out and slammed his palm towards the imperial preceptor. Boom! The 2 of them each retreated a few feet, and then took a step into the sky. Without saying a word, they began to fight at the top of the clouds. Emperor Hong looked at Wang Su and the mysterious madam, cupped his hands, and said, "The 2 of you, since we are already allies, then I ask the 2 of you to quickly return and invite the experts around you to kill these black sheep." Finished. Emperor Hong waved his hand, and the power of the false god rolled out, carrying a world-destroying aura as it pounced towards Qin Feiyang's group. Lu Jiajin's eyes flashed with a sharp light as he shouted, "Old Qin, accept the challenge." Old Qin nodded. Boom! The 2 of them attacked at the same time. 2 waves of false god power emerged, like 2 huge waves, sweeping through the sky and colliding with Emperor Hong's false god power. Puff! Old Qin and Lu Jiajin immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, staggered, and kept retreating. Qin Feiyang's heart sank. Lu Jiajin had just broken through to the false god realm, so he was definitely not Emperor Hong's opponent. As for Old Qin, although he was a veteran false god, compared to Emperor Hong, who was at the peak of the false god realm, he was still far from it. Qin Feiyang looked at Lu Xingchen and said, "It seems that you have to go back and call Mu Changfeng to help." Lu Xingchen glanced at Emperor Hong, then looked up at Mu Chongyun and the imperial preceptor who were fighting at the top of the clouds. He waved his hand and smiled, "No need." Qin Feiyang was bewildered. Lu Xingchen said, "Actually, Mu Chongfeng has always been by my side. Just now, when I told Mu Chongyun to go back and call him, it was purely to tease the imperial advisor and Emperor Hong." Ugh! Qin Feiyang was stunned. Had he always been by Lu Xingchen's side? Why didn't he see Mu Chongfeng? But very soon, Qin Feiyang was suddenly enlightened. Mu Chongfeng should be in Lu Xingchen's spatial divine item. Emperor Hong repelled Old Man Qin and Lu Jiajin with one move, and his confidence immediately soared. Looking at Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen, he said proudly, "As long as I don't give you the chance to call Mu Chongfeng over, with this old man's and imperial preceptor's abilities, it's enough to kill all of you." Really? Lu Xingchen smiled playfully. Before he finished speaking, an old man appeared in front of Lu Xingchen out of thin air. Who else could it be but Mu Chongfeng? Sure enough, he's inside the spatial divine item. Qin Feiyang muttered. How is this possible? Emperor Hong's face was filled with disbelief. Lu Xingchen sneered, "I, Lu Xingchen, have never done anything that I am not sure of. Since I will bring Mu Chongyun here, I will naturally bring Mu Chongfeng along as well." Emperor Hong said in shock and anger, "Then before, why did you let Mu Chongyun go back? I was just teasing you, did you really take it seriously?" Lu Xingchen laughed mockingly, looked at Mu Chongfeng and said indifferently, "You know what to do." Mu Chongfeng nodded, looked at Emperor Hong and said, "A father's debt is repaid by a son. Today, you will pay for the sins your father committed." Boom! After he finished speaking, a monstrous killing intent shot out from Mu Chongfeng's eyes. Damn it! Emperor Hong cursed, raised his head to look at Wang Su and the mysterious lady, and roared, "What are you still standing there for? Go back and call for help." However, whether it was Wang Su or the mysterious lady, they were both indifferent, as if they didn't hear anything. What's going on? Emperor Hong was bewildered. Qin Feiyang also looked at the two of them suspiciously. The mysterious lady glanced at Qin Feiyang, looked down at Emperor Hong condescendingly, and said indifferently, "Who said I would make a move?" Emperor Hong was taken aback, and said, "Don't you have a grudge with Qin Feiyang?" The mysterious lady said contemptuously, "I do have a grudge with Qin Feiyang, but I didn't say that I would help you kill him. It's you who thinks you're smart, who thinks that I'm your ally." This, for a moment. Emperor Hong's mind was in a mess. At the same time, when the imperial advisor heard the mysterious lady's words, his face also changed. How could this be? An uneasy premonition arose in his heart. He hurriedly pushed Mu Chongyun away with his palm and landed beside the imperial advisor. He looked at the mysterious lady and said, "You're not here to kill Qin Feiyang, then what are you here for?" "Me?" The corner of the mysterious lady's mouth lifted, and said, "I'm here to protect him." What? Emperor Hong and the imperial advisor were dumbstruck. In the distance, Wang Zicheng and the rest also looked at each other. Qin Feiyang himself also had a look of astonishment. Lu Xingchen, Mu Chongyun, Mu Chongfeng, and Wang Su also had faces full of astonishment. Clearly, they did not expect that this woman was actually here to protect Qin Feiyang. Especially Wang Su and Lu Xingchen, three people. Because they all knew that Qin Feiyang had snatched the divine crystal from the mysterious lady's hands in the endless sea. Logically speaking, with the mysterious lady's personality, she would definitely find Qin Feiyang to settle the score. But now, she actually wanted to protect Qin Feiyang instead? What was this woman thinking? After the imperial advisor came back to his senses, he looked at the mysterious lady and said, "Didn't you say before that Qin Feiyang really deserved to die? Why do you still want to protect him? Deserves to die is one thing, and protecting him is another. In short, with me here today, no one can even think of hurting a single hair on his head. The mysterious lady said domineeringly. Everyone's heart trembled. This tone, this attitude, was enough to show that she was determined to protect Qin Feiyang. What kind of trick are you playing this time? But Qin Feiyang had an indescribable irritation in his heart. If it were someone else, he might not think too much. But this woman, he knew too well that she would never do anything that would not benefit her. But why? No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't figure it out. What about you? The imperial advisor looked at Wang Su again. Wang Su glanced at the mysterious lady, looked at the imperial advisor and Emperor Hong, and said, "This old man is also under the orders of the chief tower master to protect Qin Feiyang." What? This time. Everyone was completely dumbfounded. The mysterious lady came to protect Qin Feiyang, which was understandable. After all, in the Forgotten Continent, the mysterious lady had repeatedly helped Qin Feiyang. But why did the chief tower also want to protect Qin Feiyang? What was going on here? Why did all the super forces suddenly stand together with Qin Feiyang? In the distant void, Wang Zicheng and the others were also dumbfounded. The big barbarian bull muttered, "Do you think that the young master paid a huge price to buy them off? It doesn't look like it. If the young master really bought them off, then he wouldn't have been so nervous just now." Wang Zicheng shook his head. Then what's going on? The chief tower master is such a hypocrite, how could he let go of his grudges to help the young master? Did the sun rise from the west? The 8 of them were puzzled. Not only them, but the others also couldn't figure it out. However, everyone knew that the situation had completely tilted towards Qin Feiyang. The chief tower, the mysterious lady, the Mu family, and the mysterious masked man, the 4 forces had joined forces to protect Qin Feiyang. Who? Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and temporarily put down the doubts in his heart. Looking at the imperial tutor and Emperor Hong, he smiled and said, "This situation is really changing rapidly. So quickly, it's leaning towards me again. Don't you think it's funny?" The two's faces were gloomy to the extreme. They couldn't understand what kind of charm this Qin Feiyang had. It actually made the Mu family, the chief tower, and the mysterious lady would rather let go of their hatred to help him? "Brother Qin, you're wrong. The situation has always been on our side. Just now, it was just their wishful thinking, a play of their own foolishness." Lu Xingchen chuckled. "Cut the crap." The mysterious lady glared at Qin Feiyang and Lu Xingchen, and said coldly, "Qin Feiyang, just say it, what do you want to do next?" Lu Jiajin said, "Why don't we join forces to kill the imperial tutor, Emperor Hong, and the little prince, and push you to the throne of Great Qin?" "That's a good idea," I raise both hands in agreement. Lu Xingchen said with a smile. Hearing their conversation, the imperial tutor and Emperor Hong couldn't help but feel panic in their hearts. Now, several super forces were standing behind Qin Feiyang. If Qin Feiyang really had this idea, then no one would be able to stop him today. Qin Feiyang looked at Emperor Hong in silence. The imperial tutor's heart stirred, and he sent a sound transmission, "Lord Emperor Hong, looking at Qin Feiyang's eyes, it seems like he still has some feelings for you. Why don't you use this to get him out of the great Qin Empire?" Emperor Hong frowned. The imperial tutor continued to instigate, "Now, this is the only way to resolve this calamity. I've lived for so many years, but this old man has never been in such a sorry state before. I really deserve to die." Killing intent flickered in Emperor Hong's eyes as he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "If you still think of me as your great-grandfather, immediately take these lackeys of yours and scram out of the great Qin Empire. Never come back." "This again? Do you really think that you're very important in my heart?" Qin Feiyang was so angry that he laughed. Emperor Hong also flew into a rage out of humiliation. When I looked at you just now, I was just sympathizing with you, because you're like a pitiful worm right now. Also, Great Qin doesn't belong to you alone. If I want to stay, I'll stay. If I want to leave, I'll leave. You can't control it, and you don't have the qualifications to control it. Qin Feiyang scolded mercilessly. Emperor Hong could no longer hold back the anger in his heart as he roared, Great Qin was single-handedly built by my father. What does it have to do with an abandoned son like you? Abandoned son. Qin Feiyang's body and mind trembled, and his hands involuntarily clenched tightly. The hatred and anger that had accumulated for many years in his heart was completely ignited because of Emperor Hong's words. Too much, Lu Jiajin muttered. Being abandoned by the emperor was the pain of Qin Feiyang's life. It even left a scar in his heart that was difficult to heal. Emperor Hong's words undoubtedly tore open this scar mercilessly, making Qin Feiyang's heart drip with blood. Lu Jiajin turned his head to look at Qin Feiyang. Looking at Qin Feiyang's pained expression, a monstrous rage rose in his heart. There are some things that are inconvenient for you to do, so let me do it. Chapter 1420. Pa. The crisp sound of a slap resounded above the imperial palace, which was particularly ear-piercing. Similarly, Lu Jiajin's slap also shocked countless people. One must know. The one standing there was Emperor Hong. Not only was he the son of the previous emperor, but he was also the second-generation emperor. How could he dare to slap him in public? Emperor Hong himself was also stunned. The imperial preceptor was also shocked. Who was this person? He was actually so bold. The scene fell into a dead silence. Suddenly, Emperor Hong raised his head, stared at Lu Jiajin gloomily, and roared, You dare to hit this old man? Hitting you is considered light. Look at this world, how can there be a great-grandfather like you? Lu Jiajin snorted coldly, raised his arm, and slapped again. Emperor Hong's hostility overflowed, and killing intent burst out of his eyes. But at this moment, Qin Feiyang clenched his hands and shouted, Old man, if you dare to move, I will let them kill everyone related to the Qin clan, and let the Qin clan have no descendants. Emperor Hong roared, Evil creature, don't forget, you are also a member of the Qin clan. Didn't you just say that I am an abandoned child? What does an abandoned child have to do with your Qin clan? Qin Feiyang sneered. Emperor Hong was furious. But at this time, Lu Jiajin's slap landed solidly on his face, and a blood-red palm print quickly appeared. This was not a slap on the face, but on Emperor Hong's self-esteem. In front of everyone, he was slapped twice in a row. How could he face the world in the future? He was about to go crazy in his heart. But he didn't dare to move. He didn't dare to fight back. Because what Qin Feiyang had just said was like a ghost, floating in his ears. Kill everyone related to the Qin clan. If because of his impulse, the Qin clan had no descendants, even if he died, it would be difficult to atone for his sins. Pa. Lu Jiajin's expression was cold. He raised his hand and slapped Emperor Hong's old face one after another. Not long after, Emperor Hong's entire face swelled up like a pig's head. However, he seemed to have become numb and did not make a sound. It's really sad that Qin Feiyang has a great-grandfather like you. In the end, Lu Jiajin shook his head and sneered. Then, he turned around and swaggered back to Qin Feiyang. Have you had enough? Did you vent your anger? Now that you've vented your anger, scram. Emperor Hong roared at the few of them, hysterical. The mysterious madam looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, Do you want the throne of the great Qin or not? In other words, if Qin Feiyang wanted it, he would immediately help Qin Feiyang get it. What's the point of obtaining the throne? Can you reunite me with my mother? Qin Feiyang muttered to himself, his eyes full of disdain. From the very beginning, he had no interest in the throne. Fortunately, there was Qin Feiyang now, or else the great Qin Empire would really be hopeless. An old official stood at the head of the crowd, looked at Qin Feiyang and the others, and said, "I won't let you hurt Lord Emperor Hong again, unless you step over my corpse. Then I'll fulfill your wish." The mysterious madam opened her mouth coldly, divine might pouring down like a waterfall. Emperor Hong pushed that old official away and roared, "Don't hurt the innocent. If you have any resentment, come at me." The mysterious madam said disdainfully, "How long can you last in your current state?" With his qi crippled, Emperor Hong was already reduced to a cripple. If the mysterious madam really wanted to kill him now, she could do it with a wave of her hand. "Lord Emperor Hong, the little prince has just succeeded the throne. Nothing can happen to you, or our great Qin will really be finished. Qin Feiyang, you're so ruthless, aren't you afraid of suffering the wrath of the heavens? I beg you, show mercy and let Lord Emperor Hong go. Our great Qin has already lost a wise emperor, we can't lose Lord Emperor Hong too." A group of officials cried out in grief. Some people even knelt on the ground, begging endlessly. Qin Feiyang swept his eyes over the group of people and asked, "Who is the wise emperor that you all are talking about?" A minister said, "Of course it's you and His Majesty the White Sky's father." "Huh," Qin Feiyang immediately laughed loudly and said mockingly, "He can also be called wise? Want me to let Emperor Hong go? Sure, but I want him to kneel down." "Dream on." Emperor Hong roared angrily. "Qin Feiyang, you're really going too far. What ability do you have to make Lord Emperor Hong kneel down to you? Moreover, he's your great-grandfather, can you bear it?" The people roared again and again. Qin Feiyang said, "Of course I can't bear it, but I'm not making him kneel down to me either. I'm making him kneel down to his ancestor. I want to repent in front of his ancestor's statue." Emperor Hong said angrily, "What did this old man do wrong, that I need to repent?" Qin Feiyang said, "You still haven't realized your mistake, you're really hopeless. I don't want to hear nonsense, just tell me, are you kneeling or not kneeling?" "Not kneeling," Emperor Hong said. "Since that's the case, then don't blame me for being ruthless." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with killing intent. Thunder Leopard and the other two beasts appeared out of thin air, and said, "Go, capture all the princesses, as well as the little prince. I will let the Qin clan have no descendants right now." "No problem." Thunder Leopard laughed. "Bastard, you really deserve to be cut into pieces." Emperor Hong was filled with grief and indignation. Qin Feiyang glanced at Emperor Hong, looked at Thunder Leopard and the other two beasts, and shouted, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and go." "All right." The three beasts shouted and rushed down. Emperor Hong's gaze trembled as he hurriedly said, Don't, quickly call them back. I'll kneel right away." Finished. He gritted his teeth and knelt on the ground with a thud. "Come back," Qin Feiyang said. "How boring." When Thunder Leopard and the other two beasts heard this, they immediately pursed their lips and returned to Qin Feiyang's side in extreme displeasure. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and a wave of battle qi surged out, pouring into the ground below. Boom! The ground suddenly trembled, and soil flew up. Not long after, a statue of a god holding a broken sword, which was more than 100 feet tall, condensed and stood in front of Emperor Hong. Looking at the statue, Emperor Hong felt sorrow from the bottom of his heart, and roared, "Father, why did you give the inheritance to that unfilial bastard? The unfilial one is you." Qin Feiyang coldly snorted, his gaze turned to the imperial preceptor, and said, "You also kneel down for me. On what basis?" The imperial preceptor was stunned and immediately flew into a rage. Qin Feiyang sneered, as a subject of great Qin, do you still need a reason to kneel to the late emperor? Or is it that the one who really wants to usurp the throne is you? The imperial preceptor's body trembled, holding back the anger in his heart, and knelt beside Emperor Hong. Qin Feiyang had already made it so obvious, if he still didn't kneel, it would be equivalent to admitting it in disguise. One had to know. Right now, all the officials in the imperial court, the people of the imperial city, were all watching. An old minister said, since we have to kneel, then we will also kneel and accompany Emperor Hong and Lord Imperial Preceptor. Yes. At this time, we must unite and face the outside world together. The other ministers nodded one after another, glaring at Qin Feiyang. Up to you. Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Lu Xingqian shook his head and sighed. I didn't expect that the wise Qin Batian would actually give birth to such a muddle-headed son like you, how laughable. You are not allowed to blaspheme, father. Emperor Hong raised his head and looked at Lu Xingqian gloomily. I don't care. In the future, don't let me hear you bully brother Qin in the imperial capital again, or else it won't end so easily like today. Chongyun, Chongfeng, let's go. Lu Xingqian sneered, waved his hand, and left with Mu Chongyun and Mu Chongfeng. Wang Su glanced at Qin Feiyang and the others, and also turned and left without saying a word. But the mysterious lady didn't leave. Lu Jiajin didn't leave either. Emperor Hong looked at Qin Feiyang, Elder Qin, the mysterious lady, and Lu Jiajin, and said, why aren't you scramming? I'll say it one last time, don't make a fuss in front of me. If you annoy me, even if the heavenly king comes down, he won't be able to save you. The mysterious lady looked down coldly at Emperor Hong and said. You, Emperor Hong blew his beard and glared. The mysterious lady smiled contemptuously, turned to look at Qin Feiyang, and said, it's time to settle our accounts, there are too many people here, let's find a place where there's no one. Qin Feiyang's eyelids twitched. Chapter 1421. Lu Jiajin saw Qin Feiyang's nervousness and sent a sound transmission, little cousin, don't be afraid. Although the power behind her is very strong, she is now alone. With me and old man Qin here, she wouldn't dare to do anything to you. That's right. If she dares to touch you, this old man will make sure she doesn't return. Old man Qin thought. Hearing the words of the two, Qin Feiyang heaved a sigh of relief. He glanced at Emperor Hong and the others, then looked at the mysterious lady and said, let's go to the restaurant. It was definitely impossible for him to bring this dangerous woman to the castle or the ancient tower. Wait. How long do we have to kneel? Emperor Hong said angrily. Kneel until I'm satisfied. If I find out that you're cheating, then don't blame me for being impolite. Qin Feiyang snorted from his nose, then turned around and left with the mysterious lady and Lu Jiajin. Evil creature. Emperor Hong was so angry that his beard was blowing and his eyes were glaring, his body trembling crazily. As the second-generation emperor of the Great Qin dynasty and also Qin Feiyang's great-grandfather, he was actually forced to kneel in public. How could he have any face left? Seeing this, the imperial advisor hurriedly sent a sound transmission, my lord, a wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. Now, please endure it and stop shouting at them. When did you become so spineless? Emperor Hong glared at the imperial advisor angrily, then looked at Qin Feiyang's back and muttered, I hope you can continue to be so arrogant. To him, what he had experienced today was the greatest humiliation in his life. Therefore, other than hatred, there was nothing else for Qin Feiyang. How wonderful! In the distant void, Wang Zicheng clapped his hands and laughed. To be able to turn danger into safety like this, young lord's methods are indeed not something we can compare to. The big barbarian bull sighed. Back then, when they followed Qin Feiyang, they were all forced and unwilling. But now that they looked back, being able to follow Qin Feiyang was also a good thing. As long as this person did not die, he would definitely have astonishing achievements in the future. They could also benefit from it. First District. Fragrant Moon Inn. Qin Feiyang and the other three arrived at the gate one after another. The waiter of the restaurant immediately welcomed them with a flattering smile. "Young Master Qin, Old Man Qin, and these two lords, please come in." In the meantime, the surrounding people also retreated to the side, as if they had seen a devil, and kept quiet out of fear. The street in front of the Fragrant Moon brothel instantly fell into a dead silence. The mysterious madam glanced at the Fragrant Moon Inn and nodded. "This place looks pretty good." Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "Of course we have to go to the best place to entertain our distinguished guests. And Fragrant Moon House is the most high-end restaurant in the imperial capital." "Stop flattering me." The mysterious lady glared at him. Qin Feiyang smiled awkwardly and looked at the waiter. "Take us to a secluded room." "All right." The shop assistant nodded and hurriedly led the way. Qin Feiyang had long been a taboo in the imperial capital. Furthermore, in the hearts of the people, his position was comparable to a super overlord like the Hong Emperor and the imperial advisor. Therefore, regardless of whether it was the restaurant's waiter or the restaurant's diners, none of them dared to be negligent. Entering the restaurant, the people inside all stood up and bowed. Although they all hated Qin Feiyang in their hearts, none of them dared to show it. 8th floor. In a private room. After the waiter brought Qin Feiyang and the other three in, he immediately left tactfully and closed the door. Inside the private room, there was a separate dining room, tea room, reception room, and bedroom. The decorations were extremely luxurious. "Everyone, sit." Qin Feiyang directly entered the tea room and sat on the main seat without any trace of politeness. In order to protect Qin Feiyang, Old Man Qin and Lu Jiajin sat beside Qin Feiyang, one on the left and one on the right. The mysterious madam looked at the three of them and snorted coldly. She walked to the opposite side of Qin Feiyang and sat down. She said, "I didn't expect your situation in the imperial capital to be so unbearable. How should I describe you? Fiend? Bane? This also proves that I have the ability." Qin Feiyang was instead proud. "Ugh." The mysterious madam was astonished. Qin Feiyang laughed and said, "If I didn't have the ability, how could I have made the whole world my enemy?" The mysterious madam rolled her eyes and sneered. "I haven't seen you for a while and you've become more thick-skinned. You flatter me." Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and smiled. He said, "Let's not beat around the bush and get straight to the point. I don't understand why you want to help me. Don't you care about divine crystals anymore? Don't mention divine crystals to me. When I think of being cheated by you, I'm so angry that I can't wait to kill you." The mysterious madam immediately turned hostile. Her eyes flashed coldly. Old Man Qin and Lu Jiajin immediately became vigilant. The mysterious madam glanced at the two of them and took a deep breath to calm her anger. She said lightly, "Don't be nervous. I won't touch him." Old Man Qin and Lu Jiajin looked at each other, but they didn't let down their guard. Qin Feiyang, however, had a bellyful of suspicions. He said, "Senior, can we not beat around the bush? Okay. I'll tell you directly. I helped you because of friendship. I didn't care about what happened last time because of friendship." The mysterious madam said. "Friendship? Friendship? Who?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The mysterious madam said, "You'll know in the future that I came to you this time because of the 3 elixir fires." Qin Feiyang hurriedly said, "Senior, you've already given me the elixir fires. Now you can't bully me and take them back. The flame of heavenly thunder, flame of frost, and flame of heavenly mystery were all given to him by the mysterious madam. The mysterious madam said angrily, "If I were to bully you, would I be sitting here discussing with you? It's good that you don't want to take them." Qin Feiyang smiled embarrassedly. The mysterious madam rolled her eyes at Qin Feiyang and said, "I only want 4 places." "No problem." Qin Feiyang didn't even think about it and nodded directly. In any case, the elixir fires were given to him by this woman. There was nothing wrong with giving her 4 places. The mysterious madam said, "Also, after we enter the divine ruin, I need you to do something for me." As expected, it's not that simple. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and asked, "What is it?" The mysterious madam said, "Take good care of my daughter. If anything happens to her in the divine ruin, I won't let you go even if you run to the ends of the earth." Qin Feiyang was stunned and frowned. "Why do I have to take care of her? Are you not going in?" "Of course I'm going in, but I can't take care of her." The mysterious madam said. "Why?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "Don't you know? The divine ruin has 2 levels. If combat thearchs enter, they will enter the 1st level. If false gods enter, they will enter the 2nd level directly. Simply put, combat thearchs and false gods won't be in the same space." The mysterious madam said. "There's such a thing?" Qin Feiyang was shocked. Why didn't Lu Xingqian tell him such an important thing? Did he deliberately hide it from him, or did he ignore this point? "I won't lie to you. Because 10,000 years ago, I entered the divine ruin. At that time, your ancestor, the Lu family's ancestor, and Mu Tianyang went in with me. But at that time, I was still very weak compared to them." The mysterious madam said. "There's such a thing?" Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. After Lu Jiajin came back to his senses, he looked at the mysterious madam and asked, "You mean, after we enter the divine ruin, we will be separated from Qin Feiyang?" "Yes." The mysterious madam nodded. Lu Jiajin frowned. "What if we're in the castle? There's a mysterious power in the passage that connects to the divine ruin. This power is pervasive. Even if we hide in a spatial divine item, it's useless. I remember that back then, Qin the Arch and Mu Tianyang did this. They both had spatial divine items, but in the end, none of them succeeded in sneaking into the 1st level." The mysterious madam said. "That's not fun." Lu Jiajin muttered. "Let me tell you seriously, the divine ruin is not a place to play. It's full of danger. Even a false god, or even a war god, will lose their lives if they're not careful." The mysterious madam said in a deep voice. "Even a war god will die." Qin Feiyang and the others were dumbfounded. This was too terrifying. Old man Qin asked, "Then in the divine ruin, is there a passage between the 2nd and 1st level?" "Yes. But this passage can only allow people from the 1st level to enter the 2nd level. If people from the 2nd level enter the 1st level, they will be bombarded by the thunder tribulation." Back then, Qin the Arch wanted to force his way into the 1st level because of someone, and he almost died under the thunder tribulation. The mysterious madam said. Qin Feiyang curiously asked, "Who is worth the ancestor taking such a risk?" The mysterious madam raised her eyebrows and said, "Does it have anything to do with you?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and said helplessly, "I'm just asking out of curiosity. Is there a need to have such a big reaction?" But after saying that, he was stunned and pondered for a moment. Then, he looked up at the mysterious madam and asked, "That person can't be you, right?" "Me? How is that possible?" The mysterious madam said expressionlessly, but Qin Feiyang caught 2 blushes on both sides of her cheeks. What's going on? Could it be that this woman has something to do with the ancestor? Qin Feiyang's mind suddenly spun rapidly. He remembered that at the beginning, the mysterious madam tried every means to kill him, but later on, it was as if she had suddenly changed into a different person. Not only did she take care of him, she even gave him a large number of perfect battle arts. She even helped him train Fatso and the others. With the mysterious madam's temper and personality, she definitely wouldn't suddenly change. But why was that? Qin Feiyang began to recall. Scenes from the past kept flashing through his mind. Suddenly, his body trembled as he raised his head to look at the mysterious madam. The mysterious madam frowned and said, "Why are you looking at me?" Qin Feiyang said, "If I remember correctly, it seems that after you found out my true identity, your attitude towards me began to improve. I can't remember anything that happened so long ago." The mysterious madam looked flustered and pretended to be calm. He. "Senior, what is your relationship with my ancestor?" Qin Feiyang said with a sneaky smile. The mysterious madam's change must be related to the ancestor, because there was no other explanation. The mysterious madam's face darkened and said, "It's nothing, we just met a few times." "Really? Then why did you blush just now?" "Senior, it's normal to like someone. There's no need to hide it in your heart." You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.